It is Thursday, February 5th. It is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SB3. I just noticed you changed your headline from what it was when you first popped on the screen.
I wanted to see how long it would take you to notice that I did that during the intro.
Yeah, I noticed pretty quickly because I feel like it was. I mean, can I say what? It wasn't anything bad, but it was.
I might change it to that.
Okay. I won't spoil it then. Yeah, I did, when you first popped up when we were talking backstage, it was one thing, and then I noticed that it was something completely different when we got on air. So it didn't take me long to notice.
Because I saw yours. I was like, yeah, this doesn't seem right. We're not on the same page. So yeah, might as well go with this since you're the insider of the analyst.
Folks, Jose is asking, so we're doing wrestling talk first, NBA rest of the show? No, flip that. The first at least hour of the show, maybe longer, who knows, when it comes to the NBA, is going to be NBA talk, where we're going to be joined by our pal Brian Zillen from PW Torch. He's a Dallas Mavericks fan. He joined us last year after the Luka for Anthony Davis trade, and he is back 1 year later because Anthony Davis got traded. So we will talk to Brian about that and all the other trades going on. The NBA trade deadline is today at 3 o'clock, so about 5 hours from now. A lot happened yesterday. A whole lot happened yesterday, but I will go ahead and warn everybody, if you don't like the basketball talk, you are free to tune out till at least 11 o'clock. And I can't even promise that 11 o'clock we'll start talking about Dynamite and everything else in wrestling. But I'll go ahead.
I'm going to say, this is like, we're going to give the people a pre-production meeting. Because usually around 3 p.m. Eastern is when I'm usually done with AE Ramble. So I'm putting it out there. I suggest we do like maybe 15, 20 minutes talking about whatever trades happen after the show at that time, so you can play on tomorrow's show, so you don't have to talk about TNA for 2 hours with Joel Pro, and you could just play the clip.
Wait, you want me to join AE Ramble at 3?
No, I'm saying me and you record something separate for you to play on In the Weeds tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Talking about the rest of any other trades that go down before 3 p.m. today.
Okay, so record something after you're done with AE Ramble today.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta. Can you do something at 4?
I'll let you know.
Okay, because I gotta pick up my kids at like 3:15. So I don't.
Oh, these kids in their school.
Yeah,
getting in the way of our NBA talk.
Yeah, so we're not back until 4 o'clock. But at 4 o'clock, I should be free to do something if you can record at then. I tweeted this. I'll tell the story right quickly. The tiny one who's like my little mini me. They had a guest at their school, and his name is Basketball Jones, and he does like. You know the song Basketball Jones? I didn't think this was a real person. Jones. Yeah. Thank you. Nobody knows this song. I'm like, ooh. Thank you. My wife didn't know this song. Like everybody, every time I mention this story, like I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, thank you.
Have they never seen Space Jam?
That's what I'm saying.
Space Jam?
Like, yeah, Space Jam has it.
Main songs from Space Jam.
Yeah, when they're when the NBA players are like walking around, they've lost their powers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that's all. Yes, thank you. I knew you would know SB3. So, Basketball Jones, I didn't think this was like a real person because I just only know this song, but apparently it's like a real person. And he comes to the schools. His name's like James Basketball Jones. But he comes to the schools and he does like tricks with the basketball and stuff. And he spins the ball on his finger and then he like passes over to the kids and all that stuff. Yeah. And so the tiny one's telling me like, oh yeah, James Basketball Jones came to our school. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, does he like talk about basketball? He's like, no. He does like tricks and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, you should ask him who the 2025 NBA champions are. And of course she immediately goes, Oklahoma City Thunder, because I've taught her very well. And I was like, yeah. And if he doesn't say that, you should call him a fraud. And I start dying at this because I think it's very funny that I'm telling her to say this. But she comes home and she repeats this to my wife, and I was like, tell your mom what I told you. And she's like, Jeremy said that, and apparently he comes like every year, so my wife is very familiar with him because, you know, all of our 12 kids have seen him. And she's repeating this story, and she goes, Jeremy said that I should ask him who the 2025 NBA champions are. And if he doesn't know, and she gets this big smile on her face, she goes, I should call him a fraud. And like her delivery is so good. And I'm cackling at this. And my wife just looks at me and she goes, you can't do that. I'm going to get a call from the school and be like, why is your daughter calling the school assembly guest a fraud? Like, well, his name is Basketball Jones. If he doesn't know the answer, he is a fraud. What are we talking about?
Seems fair. It seems fair to me.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't know if she'll do that. I don't know. Next time Basketball Jones will come around, maybe he'll get called a fraud. Then if he does, well, he deserves it if he doesn't know who the champions are. I'm going to get her in so much trouble. I make up all these stories, and I'm like, yeah, this person did this, this, and this. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, nah, this didn't like actually happen. But she's going to go repeating these stories. Like, my stepdad told me this person, you know, this person actually dumped the tea into the harbor for the Boston Tea Party, and they're like, no, that's not who did that. And then he dumped a bunch of sugar in there, and that's how sweet tea was invented. Like, those are the kind of stories that I'll tell them. Like, do you know how sweet tea was invented? They say the Boston Tea Party was, you know, was dumped in and all this stuff, but then they took a bunch of sugar and they dumped it in there as well. And then somebody like took a cup and they scooped it up and they decided to drink it, and they're like, this tea is very sweet. And somebody's like, that's sweet tea, and that's how sweet tea got invented. And they'll go repeating shit like that.
No, you just feel like, you know, and also, you know, after the Boston Tea Party, it snowed. So they had the tea and they picked it up and it was like, oh my God, this is cold. It's like iced tea. That's how iced tea was baked. That's what
I like that. Yeah, I'm just completely retconning history. Like, I'll talk about actual history and not this bullshit white history that our schools teach all the time. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Well, it's February. Maybe they'll teach some black history. But
it's got to teach some black history. Please.
Yeah. Folks, if you're here, leave a thumbs up on the video. You know, that helps us out. Subscribe to the channel, leave a super chat if you want more American history stories that don't actually exist. I think it was Tuesday's show. We talked about this a little bit off air. I think it was King Potate who mentioned the Roblox Black History thing, right? We were talking about that.
Minecraft, wasn't it Minecraft?
Minecraft, not Roblox. Yeah. Minecraft. So SP3 and I like actually looked at that. That's the most absurd thing I've ever seen. So for those that don't know or missed the end of Tuesday's show, we were talking a little bit about Black History, and Minecraft released like Lessons in Good Trouble, and it's got like Rosa Parks and Nelson Mandela and all this stuff. And I like, this is a terrible idea. Bad. Because you know, like, a bunch of racists are gonna like go through and just like take their little block swords and just like kill all the people marching and stuff.
So bad.
Like, this is an awful idea. And why would you call it like lessons in bad, or what? Oh, hold on. What was it again? Lessons in Good Trouble. That seems like such a weird name of Good Trouble. Like, yeah, these people got in trouble, but like it was for good reasons. It's like, just call it what it is, in that like important moments in Black history and important moments in history. Like, why are we called Lessons in Good Trouble? Like, the name is already off-putting to me, but this is a terrible idea. I don't know who thought of this, but they should be fired.
Probably a white man. I'm sorry.
Probably. Honestly, no. Look, I think white people are awful. So you're not saying. I've made this.
We firmly established that you get a plate at the cookout, though. So you're good.
Thank you.
You're good.
White people suck, dude. Like I know this. I'm not naive to this. So yeah, it probably was a white person, honestly. Like, it would be great. It would show like we are
We're woke.
unified and everything. Yeah, woke. Yeah, it would show that like let's do that. Uh, a Minecraft in civil rights Minecraft. I was like, y'all didn't think this through. Good Trouble was first referred to by John Lewis. All right, thank you, C. Delgado. I still think you could have come up with a better name because uneducated white people like me, when it comes to this stuff, are gonna take it in a not great way. And I mean, look, maybe that should that should force me to educate myself when it comes to these things. I still just think the name could have been better. But I do appreciate you, C. Delgado, for clearing that up. I don't disagree with this. WGW Wheeler, as someone with 12 kids who play a lot of Minecraft and Roblox, I don't disagree with this at all. But yeah, that probably is a different conversation for a different day. How you doing, SP3? 10 minutes into this thing. How you doing?
I am doing well. I'm glad to be here on a Thursday. As usual, one of my favorite days of the week because I get to talk to Jeremy and Jimmy, which is like two different ends of the spectrum, both a little crazy, which I enjoy interacting with on occasion. And we get to talk about one of the most exciting and busy NBA trade deadlines in history. I thought last year is the GOAT. Last year is the greatest trade deadline of all time, mainly because, the greatest trade of all time. Shout outs to John Alba, who said the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic is the worst trade in NBA history. Yeah, for the Dallas Mavericks, it's the greatest trade in NBA history for Lakers fans like me. So yeah, I will say that's the greatest trade deadline of all time. Plus, we had like Jimmy Butler and all these big names that were moving shop at that time. But this one has been just as exciting. It's just been busy as hell. I don't remember a trade deadline Wednesday that was as busy as yesterday. You would have thought that yesterday was the trade deadline with how many people were making moves so early on in the day, and it was one after the other after the other after the other. And for the first time in a very I don't even remember ever this happening. A bunch of tanking teams decided to make win now trades. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Triple J to the Jazz, Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards. Like, it's like, dude, you guys are tanking. What are you doing? Why are y'all getting all-star caliber names to make trades? It was so exciting to watch, and I can't wait to talk about it today with you. And this is why the NBA is the best sports league, because we've said it once, we'll say it 1,000 times. There is no off season. There is no off season, because when we get to like July, me and Jeremy will be talking about all the free agency moves. When we get to August, we're already prepping for a training camp. When we get to September, we're getting ready for the start of the season. And then in the middle of the season, in the beginning of February, you get the trade deadline and then all-star break. So it's always exciting to be an NBA fan. So can't wait to talk about that today. And as well, we have a very good wrestling show to talk about. I'm not used to this after Tuesday, and we had to talk about that awful episode of Monday Night Raw with one all-time segment at the end, saving it from a below 4 out of 10 score. And I gave it a 5.5 on Rated Raw Review, spoiler alert. But this episode of AEW Dynamite was a great follow-up. I honestly, a couple of hours before yesterday's show, I was just like, the lineup is good, but I don't know if it's going to be as good as last week. Like, last week's show was so focused. They were building up this week's show. They were building up Grand Slam Australia. They were building up Revolution. They gave a direction for the AEW world title scene. We had a great women's title matchup as well. So I was like, I don't know if this one's going to keep up with it. I really enjoyed last night's episode. Like, the AEW world title scene and picture is probably one of the best stories in all of wrestling to start off 2026. Still needs to work on his women's division and try announcing women's matches maybe before
Well,
5 p.m. on a Wednesday. But anyway, I'm not going to get into it was a bunch of exciting stuff. They established new people in the main event picture, in the main event scene. We had unpredictable finish to a bunch of the matches on the show. So I am very happy to talk about AEW Dynamite from last night and the whole wrestling world, what's going on, because there's always busy in the wrestling world, and why people should not be arguing with wrestlers on how they feel about their career and how they feel about their peers' legacy. Why are we arguing with people online? It led to me and Ricochet interacting on social media. So thank you for that. But damn, why are fans this way? Why do all wrestling fans have parasocial relationships with wrestlers? It's so weird to me, and I had to comment on it, and we're going to talk about it today.
Let's get into NBA trade talks here, SP3. I'm going to start with this Giannis stuff. Long-time listeners, and by long time, I mean like 2-3 weeks ago, because that's when a lot of this stuff started. I've been saying I don't think Giannis is getting moved at the trade deadline. Like I just didn't see it. I thought the offers would be better in the offseason. I didn't think the Bucks had any reason to move him now because I didn't think the offers were that good. All right, the Warriors were going to make 4 first-round picks. All right, like how good are those first-round picks? The rest of that offer is Jonathan Kuminga. They were willing to throw in Draymond Green, which they would have to trade Draymond Green because the Bucks weren't going to keep him. Like these aren't good players. Like, these aren't guys you're going to like build around. No offense to Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think he's not Shea. He's not a guy that you can look at and be like, hey, yeah, we can like build around this person. You know, he's been in the league for a few years. He can't even crack the rotation for Steve Kerr. I know people are like, well, why doesn't Kuminga play more? Why doesn't he play more? Maybe there's a reason for that. You know, like I don't think Steve Kerr is a bad coach. I think Steve Kerr has earned the right to play who he wants and feel who he thinks is going to give them the best chance to win. He doesn't feel Jonathan Kuminga gives them the best chance to win on a night-to-night basis, so he didn't play him. So why is that a guy that like you want on your team? So I thought like, oh, they got to take the Warriors deal. Like the Warriors deal isn't that great. It might be the best one that's there now, but it's not that great of a deal. And then like, oh, what about the Timberwolves deal? It's like you just want to be a play-in team. You want Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels, no picks, because the Timberwolves don't have any first round picks to trade because they traded them all for Gobert. Like no pick, like that's gonna be who you're gonna build around. Like you're a play-in team with that lineup. Why would you do any of that? So I didn't like that deal at all. The Miami deal, all right, like. Maybe you flip Tyler Hero. But I didn't love the Miami deal for Lillard last year. And, of course, that didn't come to fruition. I am tired of really Shams. Because I think Shams has been way off on all of these trades, honestly. And his reporting has been way off as well in the way he's covered this kind of stuff. Because then Giannis does an interview with the local Milwaukee media and says like, no, I don't want to go anywhere. Like I love Milwaukee. Like if you could tell me that I could stay here and compete and possibly win another championship, like that's what I want to do. Like, why do you want to trade this guy? Why are
I don't know why they would want to do that, but
well, yeah, but like, why are the Bucks in such a rush to trade this guy if he wants to stay? Maybe things change in the offseason. Maybe he's saying something different behind the scenes. But what he's saying publicly is what I would go with. Because then if he is saying something different behind the scenes, okay, that's on him and he doesn't look good. But if he's not saying anything behind the scenes, or if he's saying the same thing behind the scenes, then you as an organization looks terrible. Because you're trading a guy who has publicly said, I don't want to leave. So why are you going to deal him? I think the reporting around Giannis has been very disingenuous because I think a lot of the national media, and we've talked about this for a few times now of like, who do you listen to when it comes to national media stuff? And I don't listen to a lot of them, but like Shams and Brian Windhorst and all these guys, they are looked at as like the insiders and the people who break the deals and everything. But they have, to me, the same agenda that all of these guys on ESPN and Fox Sports and all of them have is they talk about big market, big picture narratives. And so Giannis in Milwaukee isn't very fun because Milwaukee's not good right now. Milwaukee's a small market. But Giannis with Anthony Edwards, Giannis in Miami, Giannis with Steph Curry, and go, let's prop all this stuff up. And then they'll just throw in Giannis to the Lakers because you always have to make the Lakers part of the conversation. And the Knicks.
I saw that report of, Giannis could be a real contender to go to the Lakers in the offseason. I'm just like, sure. I'm sure he will. Yeah. I've heard that one before.
You have to throw in the Lakers and the Knicks into all of these conversations because of course you do. And then so now over the past 12-ish hours, the teams that were seemingly in on Giannis are out on Giannis because the Warriors traded Kuminga for Kristaps Porzingis to Atlanta. And now we just saw, just before we came on the air, right when we came on the air, the Timberwolves acquired Ayo Dosunmu, who I really like, but that's gonna take them. That's gonna take them. I think it's Ayo, not Ayo. I like Ayo better though. I think that takes them out of the Giannis sweepstakes. Now they didn't give up anybody who's part of the Giannis sweepstakes in it. They give up Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and 4 second-round picks, but they have no first-round picks to trade. So again, what are you gonna get? Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Naz Reid.
This was more of a move of like a need. They don't you can make the argument, they need a Giannis Antetokounmpo to become a championship contender, but I think they much more needed a freaking guard. They didn't have any point guards, any facilitators on that team. And I'm not saying Ayo is like the greatest facilitator possible, but at least he is one because they didn't have anybody. They were, especially if they were able to do the Giannis trade, they were going to have Dante DiVincenzo play point guard, which sounds horrifying. So I'm happy that they made this move. I wouldn't say that this completely eliminates them from the Giannis sweepstakes. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 hours or so.
I think it eliminates them. I think
it is safe. I think it is safe to say that it won't be going down probably today. At best, they'll be in the sweepstakes for the offseason. And Giannis coming out and saying this quote does help, the Bucks to be like, this is basically like the Kevin Durant quote from last year around trade deadline. When Kevin Durant didn't want to get traded from the Phoenix Suns, he came out with this whole statement, says that he wants to win here, says that he wants to make the playoffs. They, of course, didn't make the playoffs. And it's basically just repeating that, except this time is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a guy that's saying that he wants to win with the Milwaukee Bucks. They are out of the playoff position right now. Who knows what's going to happen in the second half of the season, but it doesn't look very plausible that they are going to be in a high playoff position at best. They can make it into the play-in, and even that is a 50-50 shot at best. So we'll see what happens with Giannis. But to me, personally, from the outside looking in, I don't know any information. I'm just an NBA analyst, so I'm analyzing the whole situation here. It sounds like Giannis is talking out of both sides of his mouth. It feels like Giannis is saying one thing and his agents and representatives are saying another thing, which happens a lot with superstar players in the NBA. You've seen it with Rich Paul and LeBron James. You've seen it with multiple other players throughout NBA history. So I'm not surprised by any of this. It is what it is altogether. So we'll see what happens.
Why? I've always said this. Why not wait until the offseason when you're going to have much more desperate teams and you're just going to have much better offers around there? You don't think, like, right now Houston's not going to make the move that people maybe want them to make for Giannis. They're not giving up Sengun. They're not giving up Thompson. I mean, same
And
with
this was the
Spurs.
same position they were in last year. They were in the conversation for KD last year at the trade deadline, but they didn't want to make a move because they were second in the Western Conference. They wanted to see what they could do with their young core. What they could do is go to the first round and lose in 7 games, and then they decided to get KD in the offseason. So yeah, we're gonna see with like the Minnesotas of the world, the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs. Those teams, I feel like, have the better shot than a lot of the names, a lot of the teams that were in position to make a push and make an aggressive offer for Giannis at the trade deadline, like the Knicks, like the Miami Heat, like the Golden State Warriors. I don't think they're gonna be farther down the list now in the offseason in comparison to these other teams. If they fail to win the championship this year, I think they have much better. Those 3 teams that I mentioned before, probably not Minnesota, more San Antonio and Houston, they have much better packages to give to Milwaukee that will make Milwaukee think a little bit more about trading.
Yeah, Houston and San Antonio, if they end up losing in the first or second round, they might completely reevaluate things. But like, you know what? Let's go out and get Giannis. Meanwhile, even like the Knicks, let's say they lose in the conference finals again. Let's say they don't even go to the conference finals. Right now, I don't know what they're thinking because they tried to make an offer for him last offseason, and it seemed like it was close, but it didn't. It obviously didn't come to fruition. You know, maybe in this offseason, if they don't go as far as they want to go, they're like, all right, you know, let's go back to the table and let's go out and make a better offer for Giannis. Jose saying, I think teams would be more desperate to get Giannis trade done today if the Thunder were healthy. No, I think teams are desperate to get it done today, but it's the teams that don't have the best offers out there. That's the thing. Like, do I think Golden State was desperate to get it done? Yes. Do I think Minnesota and Miami are desperate? Yes. I do think they're desperate to get because they know they're desperate to get it done because they know in the offseason, oh, if Houston comes to the table, if the Thunder comes to the table, if San Antonio comes to the table, we're fucked. This offer of Jonathan Kuminga, who got traded for a literal walking sickness, this offer for him, sorry, I like Kristaps Porzingis, but is what it
Dingus
is.
Pingus? You saying Dingus Pingus is a walking cancer?
He is. I mean, I feel bad for him, but he has a disease that, like, I don't know if he's ever going to be the same type of player that he was. Like, you're saying Jonathan Kuminga is the best offer you're going to get? You're saying Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle is the best? No. Not even close. And that's why these teams are desperate to get it done, and these teams want to push it to get it done. But if you're Milwaukee, you look at these and it's like, why would we ever do this? The offseason is the much better time to get this deal done because who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs. In Houston, if they lose again in the first round, they got 37-year-old Kevin Durant. And then the rest of this team, like they're in win now. And if they lose in the first round, you don't think they're like, all right, you know what? We got to go get Giannis. Sorry, Amen Thompson. We don't have another 2 years for you to develop a jump shot. We gotta get a guy who's gonna help us win this year because once we have Durant gone, then we're just stuck with Amen Sengun. We don't have Jalen Green anymore. Reed Shepherd can't play defense, so we got to figure something out. Like, you don't think these teams are going to be more desperate in the offseason? Of course they are. So we got Jake in the chat, Jake's a Milwaukee fan, and says, Sham sucks. If it wasn't for Kay Adams flirting with him, no one would care about him. He throws crap at the wall and hopes something sticks. He's 0 for 1,000 on Giannis reports. He's really been exposed with this Giannis stuff. Like, his reporting has been terrible with the Giannis stuff. And it's shown, and like I know Shams talks to. It seems like he talks to like a lot of agents and maybe front office people because
he was
every
getting
single
text messages as he's on ESPN. Did you see that clip of him just taking text messages as he's doing his reporting?
But like I know he talks to agents and front office people because every single friggin' time, he breaks a trade, he does the stupid thing of like, so and so is really happy to acquire so and so, and he thinks they're a great fit for it. Like, no shit, that team's happy to acquire that person. Like, this just seems like very agent and front office speak of like, yeah, of course we're happy to get this guy. We missed out on this guy, and that sucks. But yeah, this is definitely who we wanted for this. So. Yeah. And Jake also saying Giannis has said the same thing to the local media for 2 years. It doesn't help that his agents are going out and saying looking elsewhere.
Yeah,
I know Giannis and SP3 just mentioned this. If Giannis will say one thing publicly, it seems like they're saying something different privately. And if I'm the front office, I'm like, you're putting this out there publicly. I'm not trading you. I'm not doing that. You got to either come out and say publicly that you want this to happen, or we're going to keep you, because you saying this, you saying you want to be here forever, you saying you want to compete here, okay, this is what we're going to try to do then. You might be saying something else behind the scenes, but we're not going to look bad off of this. And we're definitely not going to look bad and take a weak-ass offer out there. Like, we're not going to take this terrible ass offer that these teams are going to give us just because ESPN is trying to tell us that 4 first-round picks from the Warriors is this amazing offer. Like, nah, get out of here with that. We're not doing that.
I'm glad Milwaukee looks like they're going to be staying put on Giannis. It wasn't the right time to trade Giannis. You said that at the very beginning. I said to Chris G when I did the podcast with him, this hopeless Knicks fan who was very hopeful that the Knicks were going to get Giannis. I was like, it's not going to work. Even if y'all did trade for him, y'all are not guaranteed to win the championship this year or next year. Y'all would be damaging your team that you've put together over the last couple of years. So that was out of the question. So I'm glad we're kind of going to get past that. The bigger news, the big trade of the trade deadline is the one that we talked about on Tuesday, which
Jared McCain.
We literally predicted it was going to happen right after our podcast. I said it, we both said it. James Harden going to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland, which I think is the most even trade of all the trades of the trade deadline so far to me, where there's not like a winner and a loser. I think both teams kind of won in that one.
We'll talk about the James Harden Darius Garland trade here shortly, but I don't want to keep our guest waiting any longer. He's Brian Zillen from the PW Torch. He's a Dallas Mavericks fan, I guess, unfortunately for him. And 1 year ago, he joined us to talk about the shocking Luka to LA trade for Anthony Davis.
The greatest trade of all time.
And 1 year later, Anthony Davis has been traded. So yesterday, it was reported that Anthony Davis went to the Washington Wizards with Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Mikala Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 fake first-round picks, and 3 potential Nikola Jokic's. Brian Zillen, PW Torch, how you doing, buddy?
It's over. It's over. The Jonathan Kuminga saga is over. Anthony Davis is gone. Giannis to be continued, most likely. I'm glad. For me, I like to have hot takes for wrestling, but like for trades, I like to kind of like really absorb the information because you guys were talking. Shams will like text somebody mid-report and be like, actually, this pick is kind of a fake first-round pick. So you see the words, and then you actually have to kind of absorb the information, let the reporting come in, let Tim McMahon, let Mark Stein actually talk to some people. And, in the state, Los Angeles Lakers are trading Gabe Vincent and a pick for something I just saw on
to the Atlanta Hawks.
Hey, there you go, SP3. There you go.
Finally, we did something, but we're getting Luke.
Yeah. What are you getting back from the Atlanta Hawks for Gabe Vincent?
Here we go, Luke Kennard.
Cash considerations.
For sure.
Luke Kennard's not. Oh, Luke Kennard's not bad. He's a shooter.
He
can
nice
make
guy.
He be the first person on our team that can make an open 3. It seems like, but
and Luka will feed him. It's a good thing.
You got veteran Dalton Connect is
There
what
you
you
go.
got here.
Okay. Yeah, he's a very functional because anytime he's been like on like like those Grizzlies teams, he's always very functional. He's not like a scrub at all. Like you probably don't want to start him, but you need a guy, especially now in the doldrums, you need a guy that can play 15, 20 minutes and shoot 3 to 4 threes and at least be like a threat where the defense can kind of like gravitate. And then the way Luka's been playing, I mean, that gives him something.
Definitely helps their defense.
Let's
Hey,
see.
it's helpful to get Gabe Vincent off our squad, so that's the positive.
I don't think Luke Kennard's a good defender. I mean,
no, he's not. He's not. That's what I said. The main thing is that Gabe Vincent is off our team.
You got sold a bill of goods because Gabe Vincent couldn't miss in a playoff. Run.
That Heat's finals team is not really aging very well.
Well, it was a fraudulent finals team.
Well, because we've got the great Caleb Martin just existing, and that's not even the same player. I don't even know what happened because everybody was so psyched that he was traded, or Philadelphia signed him, and they thought he was going to play kind of like a tweener, small forward, power forward, and he's just fallen off the earth. And of course, for God only knows, I'm still very salty about this trade that Nico Harrison traded away Quentin Grimes, who's very good, dropping like 40, 50 points until Philadelphia said, hey, guys, let's tone this down. We got to keep this pick from Jeremy and OKC having everything. But yeah, like going back to your initial question, Jeremy, I like the state of where the fan base was last year. If people are like jonesing excited about it, I'm not going to poo-poo anything. I think your assessment as far as like the compensation is pretty accurate because you go to the pick this year. It's OKC's first round pick. So that more or less, that's like you're
that's 30th
second round pick, which is fine. And you can find functional guys if you're drafting properly. That I'm completely okay with that. And the Golden State pick from 2030 is, it's top 20 protected. So that more than likely that is not going to convey because we don't think Golden State's going to be any good anyway. It was all about just, I think, turning the page and get a relief. And I'm not really, AJ Johnson is interesting, cool. It's something to look at, but a lot of these guys, are just kind of filler. They could easily move Chris Middleton or maybe buy him out. Who knows? Believe they got some type of exception through the deal. But most importantly, they got rid of D'Angelo Russell, who had a player option, who was just existing. One of Nico's just blunders as well before he left us in just a muck of a mess. And again, it just, you're turning the page, and I'm happy. As I bemoaned with SP3 when I joined you fellows last year when everything happened, I was just I didn't think the guy was going to play. And then, of course, him and Kyrie only play one game together ever. And
What a half.
Yeah, what a half. What a half. What a vision. Fortune favors the bold. This vision Nico Harrison had before he got canned, before he got booed out of the building, and just hanging around him in his NXT type perch in the stands, so that way he wouldn't get yelled at. Very funny. Before Patrick Dumont had a conversation with a season ticket holder and said, "Hey, what's going on? Do you like this team?" And it's like, "No, actually, I don't. You should get rid of this guy." So, that's not exactly what happened, but obviously that was like a big story right before Nico Harrison got fired earlier this year. Funny enough, when they played the Bucks. It's interesting the way, I'm not sure you guys talked about it yet, where, Jeremy, I thought this was going to just be the Jared McCain show, which, geez, what a coup. Just the fact that they knew Shea was going to be out for a little bit, but you know what? Let's go get the rookie of the year potentially last year, who they, let's say OKC does need kind of a traditional guard. And just the fact that you don't have to rely on Wallace, J. Will, Caruso to be that, and you can kind of have those guys just be off guards and kind of just pester the hell out of everybody. That's great.
people are being so, and I know they don't actually like watch OKC, but people are being so stupid with this deal. In that one, they didn't. All right, they gave up the 20th, like a top or not a top 20, 22-30, because it's the Rockets first round pick this year, so it'll probably be around 22, 23 ish or so. McCain was the 16th overall pick, so if you look at it like that, like you kind of traded up, and then you gave up a bunch of seconds, and the next Nikola Jokic, obviously, all these second round picks, as everybody loves to say when it comes to you could find the next Nikola Jokic, like you could. It could also be the 300 other second round picks who never played a game in the league. But people are like, oh, how is McCain even going to like crack the rotation out there?
He's going to start while he's gone.
Do you know how many possessions I've had to watch this year that end in a Lou Dort step back mid-range jumper? I love Lou Dort. Every day is Lou Dort day. I do not need Lou Dort taking step-back mid-range jumpers at all as part of this offense. They've had one creator out basically every game this year, whether it was Dub or AJ, and now Dub and AJ are out. Now Dub, AJ, and Shea are out. So now we have no creators out. We played with 8 guys last year. 3 of them were two-way players. We had 5 legitimate NBA players on the team last night. There's that picture of like the bench is completely empty because there's 5 guys on the court and there's 3 guys ready to check in. So there's no one on the bench. We were ready to play the chairs at some point. I don't know how McCain. I know McCain isn't great on defense from everything I've heard. I think within the system he'll be fine. I've watched some of his like offensive videos and everything. The dude can shoot. Like he can shoot, he create. He's a movement shooter as well. He's not a guy who just needs to like stand still, okay, catch and shoot. Like he relocates, he moves off the ball. Shea has become such a better playmaker this year as well. Like if you're moving off the ball, he's gonna find you. Hartenstein's gonna set a bunch of screens. Like he's going to get playing time too, because this again goes back to the part of like, I don't know how much you guys actually watch OKC when you say, oh, is he going to crack the rotation? Mark Daniel plays everybody. He plays again, do you know?
Blood.
Yes, do you know how many times I've had to watch Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP, the finals MVP, play with a lineup that is Chris Youngblood, Brooks Barnheiser, Brandon Carlson, and I don't know, throw in a 4th out there. Like, that's who we put Shea around. I was like, why is he playing with 3 G League guys out here? It's because Mark plays everyone. So if you play well enough, you're going to earn your minutes, you're going to earn a spot in the rotation, and it just completely... it completely changes the dynamic of the team. It gives them a different look as a different creator, a different scorer, a different shooter. We're a better team today than we were yesterday. And we were the best team in the league yesterday. So
and this is probably like the first time they've had a traditional point guard since CP3, right?
Yeah, I guess Shea isn't like super traditional. And I mean, it's been Shea ever since Chris Paul. Yeah, it's been Shea ever since Chris Paul was gone. I mean, Russ wasn't even a traditional point guard if you really think about it. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know how good his like passing overall is, but I think he's gonna fit into our offensive system. And like we need a shooter. Our shooting is so hit and miss. Like to get a guy who can shoot, who can create his own shot, who can knock down open shots, like I'm very excited for him. And yeah, he's gonna lead the offense over these next 5 games because nobody else can fucking play.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like I saw a lot of people freaking out, like you mentioned, Jeremy, about like the compensation, but like people forget OKC still has the Sixers pick and they have the Clippers pick this year.
Yeah.
So they have 2 other first round picks.
Again, the way I look at it is we traded a pick that's probably going to be between 22 and 27. And we got the 16th overall pick in a draft a couple years ago who played really well last year before his injury, who's only 21. It's not like this is some like 30-year-old guy or anything. He's only 21. He still has plenty of time to develop and everything. And second round picks, like, okay, yeah, it could be the next Nikola Jokic, sure. Do you know like invaluable second round picks are? Like you can literally buy a second round pick on draft night if you want one. So yeah, I don't put too much stock
Dallas
into
got like 5 of them. 5 of them
yesterday
for Anthony Davis.
Yeah. they're like kind of like faulty. They're like fake $10 gift cards. They're just kind of just used in like deals that never really happen. I mean, yeah, you can occasionally find a Jalen Brunson late.
You can find an AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell was a second round pick. Like, yeah, maybe you find a good second round pick, but chances are rare.
Yeah, and the thing about the draft now that I didn't even really consider, I was listening to a draft guy yesterday, and he had said the draft, you're not going to really find those people anymore because why would a kid come out when he's making $5 million at like Oklahoma to be a second round pick to make $1 million? I don't really think you're going to find those diamonds in the rough. I think even in the second round now, you're going to have more of these flyers that might come out, or maybe these fake G League guys are coming out and like coming back to the league. You know, I think the second round is even going to be harder to kind of spot somebody unless you're kind of willing to kind of really take a development player. And Jeremy, I was kind of just looking at kind of like a big draft board on like kind of like projections from like 20 to 30. A lot of them are like kind of like young centers, and OKC doesn't need one because they have the guy that they drafted last year that, you know, unfortunately is not going to play. So I don't think they're even missing out on anything with that either.
Yeah, we have Sorber, who's not playing all season. I don't know if Nikola Topic is ever going to play in the league at this point, which sucks because he was 14th overall, 13th overall. He's a lottery pick. And so I just don't know if he's ever going to play. But, you know, and that's why getting McCain is like, we thought we were going to have Topic this season as another creator. And unfortunately, we didn't. Fortunately, AJ has stepped up and become like that guy to where even if Topic was healthy, I think AJ should have the ball in his hands more. But yeah, getting McCain, like, I love the deal. I don't see the downside to it. I would like to get another big just because we don't like if Hart is hurt, Chet's Chet, but is definitely a little undersized because of his frame, and then Jay Will is undersized, and so like our rebounding just sucks. So it would be nice to get another big. Like they traded for Mason Plumlee and then immediately waived him. So we'll see.
I thought that would have been a nice addition, honestly.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, but because of just money and everything, like McCain is obviously a better player than Plumlee. Maybe they find somebody on the buyout market who's willing to come in, because they did that a few years ago, and I forget his name, and I feel bad that I forget his name because he like literally passed out on the bench a few years ago while he was on the team. But like they brought him in to and I'm gonna get his name here in a second. They brought him in to help the rebounding stuff, and he just like never played. But it was Bismarck Biyombo is Biyombo. Yeah, he came in and he never actually played or anything. But it's like it's just nice to have like an option in case you need the rebounding and get him out there. I just don't know who that person's gonna be if they actually exist.
Well, I guess if you want to look at it on the positive side, Jeremy, like with Houston losing Adams, you really only have to worry about the bigger bodies versus really maybe to have against Denver. San Antonio, I mean, obviously you got Wemby, but they play so more of those like faster, twitchy guard wing people. I don't really even think you need a lot of big bodies. I mean, obviously, Jay Will to kind of throw out Victor makes a difference for sure, just to kind of throw an extra body. But with Houston compromised now and just Denver, there's not really like a team in the West I feel like OKC should have like problems with as far as size. I mean, yeah, you've got Rudy, you've got Naz Reid, but I mean, the Wolves are kind of a mess anyway. So I think OKC, as far as just like the
Wolves don't got a point guard. That's what they need. The Wolves and Houston, they need point guards, and so they're. I think Io did help themselves out with getting Io. But
I think Io is going to help with the Wolves point guard situation. Yeah, the Rockets losing Adams was big because we actually did play them a few weeks ago where Adams didn't play and Hartenstein didn't play. So that's. If we have Hartenstein, I feel much more comfortable with the matchup. But I was a little bit worried about it because of the rebound. But they're a completely different team without Adams because, like, their offense isn't great.
Oh, it's worse than OKC's when SGA is not out there.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But they clean up so much because Adams, like, just got so many offensive rebounds and gave them so many extra possessions. And without him, like, they don't have those extra possessions. And so when they're a one-and-done team, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all.
No, it's not. I get when you guys officially saw the blip yesterday that Davis was traded. What were your initial thoughts?
Go ahead, SPT.
My first thought was, that's hilarious. They got more draft compensation for Anthony Davis than they did for. Then I looked at the picks and I was like, oh, that's not much. Washington won this trade because this is my hot take. Washington's going to be a problem. They're going to make the playoffs next year. That's my hot take. That's a hot take because of where they've been. They've been on a 9-year rebuild. The last time they were 500 was 9 seasons ago. Like, they have been on one of the longest rebuilds of any team in NBA history, pretty much. And the fact that they got, Trae Young, they got Anthony Davis, 2 guys that are injured right now, and they're still going to try to tank this season and keep their top 5 pick. They can get Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsa in the draft to add to Alex Sars, who would have probably been an all-star if they played a little bit better. If they had more than like 13, 16 wins this season, he probably would have been an all-star this year. Keontae is playing very well for them. So like they have a lineup that's going to be a real big threat in 2027. So I was just once I looked at the trade more closely, I was like, Washington definitely won this trade. Dallas, they're in full-on rebuild mode, and they basically treated Anthony Davis as a salary dump. I have to think that, though, this is really bad on Anthony Davis's mental health, and that IG post that he deleted basically confirmed that immediately after.
Was that
I did not see that. What was
that
it?
real?
Yeah, it was. I've seen it. I seen it before he deleted it, and then I saw online that I saw the IG post first because I checked his IG after the trade went down, and then I saw later that it got deleted. But I don't know if it was like word for word what's being like circulated online, but it was basically like kind of feeling let down at the fact that he put so much equity into the Los Angeles Lakers and they traded him away. And then to feel like he should have been embraced by the Dallas Mavericks and then they trade him this season. He doesn't feel like the same player that he was a couple of seasons ago. Remember, going into the 2023 season, I was like top 5 MVP candidate. He feels like so far away from that guy. He feels very closer to all the nicknames that he's gotten over the last couple of years, Anthony Day-to-Day Davis and Street Clothes, more than he feels like that top 5 MVP candidate that he was like 3-4 seasons ago. So I have to think that on his mental health, this is not good for him. But I think that next year he'll get over that, and being on a new team, a young team as well, the Washington Wizards are going to be a real big threat in the Eastern Conference.
I don't know. So when I first saw the deal go down, I figured it was going to happen because the reports were that they were just kind of ready to move on from Anthony Davis and try to just start a new era with everything, even though Anthony Davis was kind of supposed to be a new era. I think the Cooper Flag, like getting Cooper Flag, and you would never say like getting Cooper Flag was bad. You'd much rather have him than Anthony Davis or a banged up Kyrie and everything. But Cooper Flag, getting him like definitely just changed their overall timeline, right? Because
the fact that he's already so good.
Yeah. Even if he wasn't this good, even if he was 70% of this, he's still so young and he was so hyped and like everyone knew he was going to be good. So like getting him just kind of changed their timeline of like, oh, we kind of need to build around him, but we can't really do that with Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. So we have to commit to one or the other. And obviously you're more likely to commit to the 19-year-old who looks this good over Anthony Davis, who maybe will play 20 games for you for the rest of his contract. So they smartly just decided to commit to Cooper. I think if they don't get Cooper Flag, then this whole thing looks much different. And even if Davis is hurt,
it's dire. It is dire.
It's not good, that's for sure.
It's probably the worst. It's probably the worst situation in the entire league.
I do wonder. I'm gonna ask you, Brian, as a Mavericks fan, like because I see a lot of Mavericks fans kind of coping with, oh, we got Cooper Flag out of the Luka trade, and like I don't consider that real. Like you kind of lucked into Cooper Flag. It's not like you traded Luka with the big intention of like, well, we're gonna trade Luka and we're gonna get the number 1 overall pick because we're gonna somehow lose in the play-in and win the lottery despite having nearly the worst odds to win the lottery. Like, you lucked into that situation. You traded Luka for Anthony Davis in hopes of winning now, and you got lucky in the lottery, and it completely changed like the actual direction of your team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to poo-poo anybody's hopium now, Jeremy, but like in terms of that though, that's not the right thing to think about. Just acknowledge this was one of the worst trades in sports history. It happened, unfortunately. Nico's gone. The team has finally turned the page. Whether conspiracy, like whether Adam Silver rectified, oh crap, we need to fix this, otherwise Dallas might move to Las Vegas, kind of thing. Who knows? We can't. The prince that was here is gone. Now we just have to kind of build with the up and coming prince that we have now. And thank God we have Cooper Flag, because I couldn't even imagine. I mean, maybe they would have gotten somebody useful, but I mean, Cooper Flag at barely 19, at what he's able to do offensively with his left hand, he's kind of like a long, stringy Tasmanian devil. It doesn't make any sense. Like, the only bump in the road he's had this season is when Jason Kidd was an idiot and made him play point guard for whatever it was the first 15 games. But like, if you just let him out and like kind of open field and just go, like, for someone with he has a very Chet frame, Jeremy, but he's still like, he's got enough in his frame to blow people back, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, he's much more stout than Chet from everything I've seen. I think Chet will fill out a little bit more, but I think Flag will also fill out a whole lot more. So he's really good. Already he's really good.
Now everybody's got different kind of analogies and percentages when you get the guy, right? So they've got, I would say maybe 70% of the hard part already done. You've got a guy. Now, can you do the rest? I honestly, it's interesting because I know there was reports yesterday that Kyrie Irving, apparently he's on board with staying. I honestly would have a conversation with him, and it's weird how Houston went all in with KD. I'd make a call and say, hey, do you want to give us your first round pick that you owe us in 2029? So that way they get their first round pick back. I would certainly do that. I don't even need like if they could just get their own draft pick back for Kyrie, I'm completely okay with that. I just don't envision Kyrie wanting to be a part of this rebuild process, because who knows? Because the Mavericks could get shafted this year in the lottery and get pushed back. And not to say they couldn't get like a decent prospect around anywhere from 10 to wherever, but it just I would keep all of your options open at this point, because you have hope now. You have hope. That's great. So I'm still having a good time watching these games. They're competitive, because they've lost. I don't even know how many clutch games at this point. They're gonna probably break the record, because like the guys play hard. Like I'm really surprised somebody's not banging the door for Najee Marshall, but goddamn it,
I think they should.
I mean, I'm surprised the Pistons, the Knicks, somebody. Jeremy, I'm surprised OKC didn't pick up the phone, because he would be a guy for OKC.
Yeah, I would have loved Najee Marshall. I don't know if he's actually available. I did see him say that he wants to be part of the Mavericks and move forward with them. I mean, obviously, if there's a big enough offer, you make that deal and go from there. So, but I don't know his true availability. But Najee Marshall was definitely someone. We had somebody in our chat ask me on Tuesday, would you want Najee Marshall? I was like, yes, I would want Najee Marshall. He's everything that OKC needs.
Dog, man.
Yeah.
And I've never seen. Oh, go ahead. SP3.
No, I was just gonna say I think they should wait to trade Kyrie till next trade deadline. I think you got to see how Kyrie can work with Cooper Flag, even if it's like the sample size, like the first 15, 20 games of next season. You have to see if that can work, if that's something that he wants to play. He wants to play in Dallas. Like, regardless of what the situation is, I know, of course, from personal experience and conversations that I've had with my nephew and stuff, that yeah, he wants to play in Dallas regardless of the situation, whether it's a rebuild process, whether it's a team that can win now. He's not into kind of just going to a team to have a winning situation. He's comfortable in Dallas. So I think you gotta at least test it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you could probably at least have a conversation in the beginning of the summer or right before the draft. Just if he could have, I would advise him not to play at all, but I know he'll probably want to get out there at least towards the end of April. Based on the positioning of where they are right now, I think they are pretty much entrenched. Mavs fans are not going to have to worry about them making the plan because their schedule is brutal the next like month. It's like, but what's crazy is their schedule is so front loaded with home games. It's like all the remaining games are almost like every one of them are on the road, and they're going to be about against playoff teams that are Denver, Detroit. Obviously, they've got the makeup game with Milwaukee, but like it's going to be I believe they play the Spurs tonight, I think. So you're going to get these gauntlet of people, and they're going to probably get their butts kicked, which is completely fine. And I can still kind of really enjoy enough of these games now because I can see Cooper just kind of gradually figuring things out, and that's what you really want to see. And just so that way you can kind of at least hope. Now, do I envision them like turning everything around and being like a potential playoff team next year? I don't know. Like I'm thinking this is probably going to be a 2 or 3 year process at minimum. I mean, yeah, they fell ass backwards to Cooper Flag, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to turn everything around. And the thing I think I've seen that I found really interesting, I don't know if you guys have already touched on it, like based on the parameters of kind of like the caps now, these teams that have been traditionally bad, I think they're gonna actively try now. Like I'm really intrigued by like what Utah is doing, because when they traded for Jaren Jackson Jr., I know people kind of bemoaned, but they had like a war chest of draft picks that they have to get rid of at some point, and they're not going to get a guy. No one wants to go to Utah right now. So if you've got a lineup of a healthy Walker Kessler, you've got Jaren Jackson Jr., and if you go back to Lauri Markkanen's history, he was very successful playing the 3 in Cleveland, and that's when he really kind of elevated himself. So if you've got those 3, George and Ace Bailey, I mean, that's a hell of a lineup. And then, Cody Williams, I'm really glad Cody Williams has kind of turned things around because it was kind of getting dark for a while. He's shown he can be a functional player. And then, God forbid if they can actually get lucky in the draft, if they can get a homegrown guy in the Banza or even like a Boozer or somebody like that, they've got a really good coach. It's just unfortunately he's been under the direct of, hey, we're going to suck. But now, since I think the good thing about Dallas winning the lottery, I think everybody's finally kind of changing their tune a little bit. It's like, well, damn, like if we can win the lottery in the plan, then like what's the point of tanking? Because like you've seen the Utahs, the Brooklyns, and all the Washington and all these other pundits like tank, and they're not being rewarded for anything. And then you look like look at Charlotte right now. Look how fun they are. Like that's really cool. So I think that ultimately the best thing to happen from this Cooper Flag stuff is like these bad teams are kind of finally try.
Well, the bad teams are going to be benefited by the second apron rule. The second apron 100%. Is totally jeopardizing a lot of these like good teams from building, and it's not you're not
We ain't even paying tax, baby.
Exactly,
we ain't even paying tax.
All your best guys are on like rookie deals or their first contract, so they're not even eligible for the super. It's really, and this trade deadline specifically, like trading guys like Anthony Davis, who was making $50 million, and Jaren Jackson Jr., who was making nearly $40 million. It's gonna really change how people give out these max and super max contracts. Like the second apron is totally gonna change, especially this trade deadline shows that only kind of these mid-level teams or tanking teams are gonna be eligible to get like these big contracts now because of the second apron rule. It's totally changed how the NBA and how these teams are gonna move and how they're gonna give out contracts in the future.
Yeah, I don't really think you're going to see like these younger years OKC teams where they can kind of just like take their lumps, because you have to meet the floor on the salary, because obviously there would be times OKC would absorb like a bad contract to get, an Al Horford and say, we're good. Why don't you sit at home kind of thing. And which is funny because I think the NBA, Laurie Markkinen, I think he's had the flu for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they're kind of leaning, they're not as sticklers for that stuff, but like when you can't necessarily state your entire lineup, so you're not going to necessarily see what OKC was able to build kind of like the last 5 to 6 years. But like these younger these bad teams, I mean, Brooklyn at some point is probably going to go out and try to sign somebody. And what I kind of admire most specifically about like Washington, like they could, if Trae Young kind of rebuilds his cred, they could easily flip him at the deadline and get more stuff. And then same with Anthony Davis. So, Jaren Jackson Jr., I feel like that's somebody that's probably going to be a cog for Utah, but you're not necessarily stuck with them, but you still have to kind of meet that floor. And like you said, Jeremy, I would rather have kind of like that one contract than those 3 to 4 contracts, which is like, do I really want D'Angelo Russell at 3 years at $18 million? It's like, or can I just move this contract and kind of get kind of minor parts, pick here, an expiring here, and kind of go about that way. But I'm really excited. I'm excited for the health of the league. Hopefully Chicago at some point will get somebody over 6'5", so that way they can actually be on the team now. Wait, they've got, which is funny because they're actually doing stuff when they traditionally are they're always penciled in to win 39 games. I wonder if they're just they're making an odd decision of finally taking now, which I would have thought they would have made that decision long ago.
Our pal Ryan Lambert says, I've been traded by the Bulls for 8 guards and picks. Like, I do respect that Chicago is actually finally doing stuff. It's also like 3 years too late for them to do stuff. I kind of feel the same thing about the Kings, to where, you probably should have. I mean, I know they traded De'Aaron Fox last year. Like, they probably should have pulled the trigger on some more trades last year. The fact that they traded Fox and were like, we're cool with getting like Zach LaVine back in this deal instead of a young player and some picks and everything. Like, we got DeRozan and Sabonis, and we're just gonna take Zach LaVine and try to be a play-in team. Like, I've had this conversation with Jake, who's a Milwaukee fan, and the Giannis talks and everything. Like, I don't understand teams that just want to aim for a play-in spot. Maybe it's because we can sell more tickets and everything, because you get maybe the extra home game, like that's not even a guarantee if you're 9 or 10. So I just don't understand teams that are just happy being like in the middle of the pack. Like, I feel like you either want to be at the top or you want to be at the very bottom, because at least at the very bottom, like, you can sell your fan base on hope a little bit easier than
hopium.
Yeah, you can sell that than like, hey, we're gonna be the Bulls. Like, we just hope to be the Bulls out here. Like, I'd much rather try to sell my fan base of like, we're gonna try. It might not work out, but we're gonna try to be OKC. You see what OKC did? That's what we're gonna try to do. Maybe it doesn't work, instead of explicitly saying like, we're just aiming to be the Bulls. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Like, just tank all out if you're gonna go for that, instead of just trying to be at the middle. And there is a report, speaking of the Bucks, this is from Windhorse, so take of it what you will. The Bucks are expected to deactivate Giannis for the rest of the season if he is not traded. So I think they want a high draft pick for. Like if you landed in the top 5, you probably take one of those top 5 guys. If you landed, at 7, maybe you can use that to go after somebody who complements Giannis now instead of a young player. I've always said, I've said for weeks, I think they're in on Ja. I think they're going to end up with Ja because I don't think Ja's value is very high, and I think they can get him relatively cheap, and they get him. They still have Giannis. They get a high draft pick because I think they probably shut down Ja for the season as well. Yeah. And it's almost kind of like what the Wizards are doing. It's like, yeah, we got some like young players. Their young players aren't as good as the Wizards' young players. But like we got some young guys who are playing pretty well, like Ryan Rollins and everything. We got a high draft pick. We either get another young guy or we trade that for a guy who can be win now type of player. And then next season, we got Ja, we got Giannis, we got Miles Turner, we got some of these young guys. We got either a top 5 pick or we have whoever we trade for the top 5 pick. Like I think you can kind of sell Giannis on like we can compete, especially in the East, with this roster. Now, if Doc Rivers still this coach, I don't know, but that's at least the theory with everything.
Please fire Doc Rivers. You're going to deactivate Giannis. You have to have in mind that you're going to have to let go of Doc Rivers and have a new coach intact for next season for Giannis to have any type of confidence to want to stay on this team.
I'm sorry if you guys talked about it at the beginning of the show. What did you guys think of the Harden, the Cleveland?
We were just getting into that. So I like it for Cleveland because I can't trust Darius Garland's health at this point. And Garland didn't play well in the playoffs last year. I know Harden's playoff history is what it is, but he at least will have like a big game or two. And I don't put it all on him with these playoffs. Like he was supposed to be the second guy to Kawhi and Joel Embiid. So why are we like fully blaming James Harden for the failures when he is the second guy on those teams? Garland has not been good in the playoffs either. Garland was awful in the playoffs the last couple of years. Last year he was hurt. I give him a little bit of pass for that, but he has not been good.
Always hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Like he's like Chris Paul, always hurt in the playoffs.
Like if you're Cleveland, I understand the swing because with Garland's health, with the way like last year kind of ended, with the way you've played this year without him, I think Harden raises your ceiling a little bit. And I think the East is pretty open too. Like, does anybody trust Detroit? Be considering they're young and haven't won a playoff series. The Knicks 2 weeks ago, everyone thought like they should just blow up the team and they should trade everything.
South obliterated them on MLK Day.
Yeah, so like, does anybody trust them? The Raptors? You trust them? Do you trust the Celtics? I mean, I think they're good. Look, I probably trust the Celtics.
I've been saying it for months now. Celtics is the real big threat in the Eastern Conference. Like I have less glaring issues with the Celtics than every other team, and especially if they can get back even at 80% Jason Tatum by the end of the season, they are the real threat to win the Eastern Conference. But even with that, we don't know how Jason Tatum is going to be if he comes back at the end of the season. And with James Harden, I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers are better. They're going to be better for the remainder of the regular season. It's all going to be up to how much of playoff Harden shows up in April and May. That's going to be the real difference maker. And this is Donovan Mitchell, a guy, who's your star player, who's running the city, like Jalen Tyson said. It's his city now, but he's a guy that's never made it past the conference semifinals. So he needed something. He needed some type of boost. And a guy that's averaging 25 points per game, 8 assists, that's a boost for your team when the other guy wasn't on the court most of the time over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I do worry if you're Cleveland because obviously the playoffs started today. They'd face Philly, and knowing how much
so bad.
Well, knowing especially how much they had trouble with those guards from Indiana last year, that kind of scared. And then you're getting functional Embiid. I don't want that. I mean, God, I mean, Edgecombe. My God, there was a play when they played Dallas a few weeks ago. He got a double block on a play. Like this guy's a freak of nature. And you've got Grimes who's cooking. You still got Maxey who's a bona fide all-star who's just crazy. Now, like sometimes can they get in trouble if they're like a little bit too small? But like, do you trust Evan Mobley and Jared Allen to kind of rise up to the occasion to play bully ball? I don't. I think they could easily run them out of the gym.
I expect them to play better with James Harden. James Harden is historically known to rise the ceiling for these big men. He's always played well, but like we talked about it on Tuesday, Jeremy, with Clint Capella. Clint Capella had career years next to him. Joel Embiid won the MVP with James Harden on the team. Like James Harden is known for raising this, and Evan Mobley, who's kind of had this off season, even though a lot of people are naming him as an all-star snub.
18-8.
I don't believe that. Yeah, I don't believe that. I'm not one of those guys that say he's an all-star snub. He needs to learn from this lesson. You should have elevated your game a little bit more to make it undeniable that you were a snub or at least an all-star this year. So he needs someone that he can play with that can get the lobs to him, get him in the right position, and I think James Harden's going to do that for him.
We have another guest. Apparently he's going to be in my ass is what his wording was.
Oh,
a nice place to be.
Oh,
Cam.
I've never met this guy.
I've never been more happy to interrupt ever in my life. Hi guys, SP3, Jeremy, good to see y'all.
Thank you.
You got to understand, me and Brian live 10 minutes from each other. Me and Brian live 10 minutes from each other. We are straight.
You should have just gone over there, and then we could just done a double live here. Yeah, interrupt that way. Yeah,
we live in the same suburb just north of Austin. That's my guy. We were together. Went to an indie show on Sunday. We had an amazing time. Brian lives in the neighborhood next to the woman with the most amazing feet I've ever seen. Life. Shout out to Brian.
Brian, not the woman with the feet.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey man, shout out to her, man. She's incredible. But no, do not let me take away from my brother. I didn't know he was on here, so let me just say, Brian was with me at the AEW show last week. He saw me text AEW PR, hooked me up with Ciampa. We had an amazing conversation. That is live now on Yahoo Sports Uncrowned. A great conversation with the guy about what he wants to do, what he's going to do, what he thinks about what his career's been and where his career's going. So please, y'all check that out when you get a chance. Again, SP3, my brother, Jeremy. Jeremy, I didn't even realize that the starters weren't playing.
I didn't think you did when you messaged that. I was like, do you want to come on and brag that you beat the C team by 10?
Come on, you know me. You know me. Even when it's jokes, that would not be a good joke.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was like, have some respect for yourself, Cam. Come on now.
Salute to y'all. And one more person. Yesterday was a rough day. Yesterday saw the Washington Post essentially get rid of their sports section. And I know what sports journalism means to you guys. I know what it means to Brian, because Brian's ass, Brian be coming to my house talking that shit. And I'm like, Brian, shut up, bro. Like I gotta keep this job, baby. But it means something to Brian. He spent years covering the Mavericks. I know you guys are talking basketball right now, but shout out to John Alba. John Alba asked a question that a lot of people wouldn't. And whether you got the answer you like from Hangman Page or not, John's a guy I respect, a guy I appreciate, and this thing has to stay alive, man. We have to keep asking the tough questions. We have to keep digging for the answers, and I love that he's not afraid to do that. A lot of people aren't afraid to do that, but shout out to my brother John, man. It was his birthday last week. He's 62 now. Just asked him suits. But shout out to my brother, man. But we're gonna keep this thing going. But y'all have a great rest of your show. And yeah, we'll get together again soon. All right.
Appreciate you, Cam.
Later,
Hey.
Cam.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for not getting in my ass too much.
Yeah. Jeez, man.
Well, yeah, when he tweeted that, because I figured it was Spurs and Thunder. I was like, he's either gonna come like brag that they beat the C team by 10, and I was literally what I was like, have some respect. Come on now,
Yeah.
like don't. Or he does not realize that OKC is playing their C team here and just decided to talk shit online, and he will realize that they were playing their C team, and hopefully will understand of like, yeah, that win actually isn't like that big of a deal if we're being honest about things.
No, I mean, all things considered, just the fact that they only lost by 10, I would take that as a huge win.
Yeah, that's what I said that earlier. I was like, they should have won by 50. Like, come on now. You let Jalen Williams and Kenrich Williams drop 20 on you? Like, come on. Like, these guys shouldn't even. Brooks Barnheiser is shooting 4 from 9 from 3. What the hell's wrong?
Brooks Braunheiser, what an NXT name.
That is a very NXT-esque name.
Very NXT.
Braunheiser.
Brian, anything else before we let you go here on the trades?
I think we kind of touched on everything. I'm with you guys. I don't know if Giannis watch happens. I'm glad at least we can kind of we don't have to hear about Jonathan Kuminga anymore. The Davis thing is done. I mean, SP3, what's happened in Lakerland? Like, are we just not doing anything? Or
Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent
gone.
That's the only thing that Rob Pelinka could be bothered with. I really wanted us to get a big man, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. We got to wait till the offseason when we offload LeBron. Maybe LeBron goes to Cleveland and joins up with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell for his farewell tour. Who knows? But yeah, I think we're gonna wait till the offseason to build around Luka and Austin Reeves because we need to get rid of a lot of people on this team, especially DeAndre.
Are you gonna sign Peyton Watson to an offer sheet?
I mean, if we want the greatest white boy squad of all time, I mean, I guess we got
Peyton's
to.
not white.
Yeah, Peyton's definitely not white.
Yeah, Peyton's not white at all.
Oh, I thought you said Peyton Pritchard. My bad.
No, Watson.
Watson,
the guy,
Pritchard,
guy.
The Caitlin Clark of the NBA, Peyton Pritchard.
I mean, although man, I tell you what, I'm really impressed on how much he's gotten better on handling the ball because he was dicing Dallas up the other night. I was not familiar with his handle game. I thought he was just the traditional just kind of heat check guy, but he was kind of going in, kind of like just carving through the trees, and I was like, damn. No, SB2, do you think Reeves is ultimately going to be the direction? I'm kind of worried with that fit with him and Luka. I don't know.
I mean, that's the best that our team has played this season when it was just them and a whole bunch of role players on the team. That's not the best that we played this whole season.
So I've looked into kind of numbers because I cover the Lakers and partial my basketball writing, and him and Luka are not the issue. It is
exactly.
LeBron and Luka or LeBron and Reeves that have been kind of the issue.
The real issue is LeBron, Luka, and Rui Hachimura in the starting five, or whenever they're on the court together. It's always a -10. It's a negative. The plus minus is always -10 when those three guys are on the court because none of them want to play defense.
Yeah,
I just don't think Reeves and Luka are as big of an issue. I think there are some issues with that defensively, but offensively they gel very well.
Yeah. I'm just surprised they haven't tried to reach out to. I mean, maybe ultimately they've got the front office has an idea of what they want. I mean, you've got guys like Robert Williams on Portland, Daniel Gafford. I mean, reunite him and Luka.
But
I don't know who you're giving up though.
Yeah, who were you giving up for him? That's
Rui, I don't know. I'd have to look at the books, but yeah, I mean,
we're only.
You'd have to give up Hachimura
right now. Yeah, we would have to give up Hachimura, who's actually been good for us coming off the bench. He's been the only guy who can make an open shot coming off the bench for us. And if he's not making an open shot, no one's making an open shot for us coming off the bench.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because it just seems like what that Dorian Finney Smith vibe that the Lakers had last year is just not there, and it's just you've got really nobody willing to go out there play a little defense. I mean, LeBron's 41, he shouldn't be asked to do that. Dominating, he'll be doing dominating things.
This
SP3, did you
this
see that
dude
Dallas?
doesn't average 1 assist per game, and he's on a team with Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. He's averaging 0.8 assists
He ain't
per
there
game.
to pass. He ain't there to pass. That's what
Black
Luka and
hole.
LeBron are there
The
for.
black hole, 12 and 8. That's his averages. 12 and 8.
Dominating, baby.
He's going to be on the team next year because he's going to opt into that option, I imagine. So,
God, I hope we change.
so you'll have Luka, Reeves, and Aiden on your team next year.
I'm good.
So
We'll trade him. We'll trade Aiden.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, they're what are they 6 right now? So, are you worried you're going to have to be looking at the play-in?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna fall.
Yeah, we're not gonna fall that much, especially with Austin Reeves being back. That was a big thing that a lot of people weren't like the big pundits weren't paying attention to, is that we were playing horribly because we didn't have Austin Reeves. We're a much better team, especially offensively, with Reeves on the court. And out of our 3 superstars, Reeves is the only one who puts any type of effort on the defensive end of the floor as well. Reeves was a bona fide all-star before he went down with the injury, and I think that a lot of people are just sleeping on that and just don't want to pay attention, or that don't think it's real. Reeves is putting up numbers that is comparable to Kobe Bryant in the 2000s before the injury. So hopefully the rest of the season you could see more of that, and I think we're going to be a 50-win team and we'll be out of the play-in position.
What's wild is I didn't even think about it until I asked you, SP3. They're really only a game and a half out of third from Denver.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that 3 through 7 in the Western Conference, that changes daily. That changes every game. We were in 5th. A week ago, we were in 7th. 2 weeks ago, we were in 3rd. Like it changes every day.
I'm gonna laugh if Lakers end up just making the Western Conference Finals, just because they just get a good I think that really if they're around the 4 or 5, if they get to Houston in the first round, I think they'll beat Houston in 6.
The size. I mean, I know Adams isn't there, but Sengun is gonna kind of piece up.
He's gonna cook.
But Jeremy, their offense is so gross. Like Luka, you at the end of the day in the playoffs, you need somebody who can actually run half-court offense.
Yeah, but even what Jeremy's saying with the size, Single is gonna kill Ayton, but you could say the same thing. Luka and Reeves is gonna kill any guards on the freaking, except for maybe Thompson.
Yeah.
Come on, their defense is great.
Yeah, their defense is great, but point guard, they don't have a point guard. They got Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd is not a point guard.
I don't know how much playing time Reed Shepherd is gonna get in the playoffs outside of bench stuff. Now their defense is great. That's really the immovable force meets the whatever the Gorilla Monsoon is saying. The Lakers' great offense.
Object.
Yeah. The Lakers' great offense against the Houston great defense, and the Houston trash offense against the Lakers trash defense. It's who's gonna get the stop, who's gonna get the score. But I do think the Rockets will benefit a little bit, especially if they get the Lakers in the first round, because who's guarding Durant out there? I mean, Durant's gonna get his shots
Vanderbilt
when he needs to, and Jared Vanderbilt. Okay, I mean, I guess you could take your chances with that out there, but
it's not taking the chances. That's the only option we got.
Yeah, it'd be a good matchup.
Ultimately, Jeremy, I just worry about Houston because they're so KD dependent. Nicked.
Oh, they're screwed.
If he's out for a couple weeks, they might lose every game.
Yeah,
because the one trick that they had, they could bludgeon people, but you can't when they can't even run a basic pick and roll to get an offensive rebound. That one kind of cool trick that you had, and the fact that none of them can make an outside shot at all, it just makes you extremely vulnerable. Yeah, you might be able to win a game if you go in the muck, but I mean, in the playoffs, man, these teams are too good. These coaches are too they're too smart. They can adjust. I mean, JJ, I know he's been kind of a hothead all season, but he's a smart guy, especially when you have him and Luka paired together and got, LeBron. You've got like some of the like the best basketball minds and kind of like that setting all kind of lean towards, the latter. And then, if Houston had, Van Fleet, I think it'd be a different conversation because then you could say, okay, we can kind of run a half court offense. We're not relying on Jalen Green. Like we can actually try to get into some sets. And, Thompson, for as freaky as he is, he's just not that guy yet as far as like being an offensive set piece where he can kind of go in. I like Şengün. I think he can kind of be Jokic at times, but I feel like he's kind of herky jerky sometimes where I feel like could be. I feel like he settles too much, and I feel like if he like actually like can like try to move around the offense a little bit, where I think everybody's like clustered up all the time, and
they
it's
have Thompson. No one's worried about his spacing. Even Şengün, nobody's worried about his spacing. Like I know that there's the comparison with Jokic, but like Jokic, you got to worry about the three. I mean, not last night against the Knicks when he shot like 1 for 13 from three, but like Jokic, you actually have to worry about like him being outside of the paint. Şengün, you're not really worried about that. You're definitely not worried about it with Thompson. Jabari Smith Jr. kind of hit and miss. Reed Shepherd is obviously great, but on the other end, he's terrible, and so people just take advantage of it there. And Ime, I don't think Ime likes Reed Shepherd either.
No.
And so that's another issue. Yeah, the Van Vliet injury like really, really hurt them because we've seen it the past few years, even with the Timberwolves, right? Of like you just need somebody who can just organize things. Like it's great to have like Anthony Edwards is a great creator, playmaker. Like he's really improved in that area and everything, but you just need a point guard who can organize offense. And Anthony Edwards isn't that guy. Anthony Edwards is a guy who's just going to go downhill and go after you and make a read based on what he's doing instead of making a read based on what the defense is doing. And Durant's kind of that same way. He's never been like the greatest playmaker in the world, but Durant can, make a play based on like what he wants to do. But having someone like Van Vliet would allow them to, okay, the defense is doing this. Let me do this and get guys in the right position and get guys, again, just organized, read the defense, any spaces. Like he's obviously a good shooter and everything too. Like having that style of point guard is very important, and they don't have it. Minnesota, I know Io, like he's good. I don't know if he's like that kind of point guard either. I think he's more of I can do things based on what I'm doing, and I still think that might hurt. Like that's why they played Mike Conley last year.
Which they could re-sign in the buyout.
Yeah, but that's why they played him last year. And like as an OKC fan, I was like, all right, cool. Mike Conley does give you a little bit on offense, but we're cooking this dude on defense. So please play him.
That's why for the Lakers, it's the Rockets or Timberwolves is probably the most favorable first round matchup for us. Ironically,
really?
You thought the Timberwolves were favorable last year.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
No, I mean, yeah, I did, but I feel much more confident about the way that Luka and Reeves have been playing against them in the regular season. That they have a chip on their shoulder if they get that matchup in the playoffs. They'll be extra motivated, and we're going to see a much more aggressive Luka Doncic, who's probably even though he's had a little bit of hamburgers during the regular season, he's in the best shape of his career.
Right. Well, Jeremy, I really appreciate the invite. I don't want to interrupt your show any longer. Always happy.
Oh, people are already so mad that we spent an hour and a half talking basketball. This is a wrestling show. What are you doing? Spending an hour and a half talking basketball?
This is a basketball podcast with some wrestling.
Joe Pearl's in the comments telling us to talk about TNA.
No, that's tomorrow. He'll unfortunately be in the comments. He'll be on the show. Well, there's
people in the comments. There's people in the comments that want to talk TNA.
As a bit, I think our audience does because they like torturing me, But otherwise, they like me more than Joel. So actually, they're like, no, we don't need to talk about TNA.
Well, again, guys, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure. Please don't
appreciate you, Brian.
Let's talk soon.
Thank you, brother.
Let everybody know where they can find you, Brian.
Oh yeah, at Brian Zome on socials, and then all my stuff. I've got a PW Torch. Weekly, kind of just doing collision stuff. I'll sprinkle in some articles here and there, and obviously I'm out and about doing supporting the indies with Cameron Hawkins. So if you see a random picture, of us maybe trying to cause trouble online, you know why. But thanks, guys.
Appreciate you,
Thanks,
Brian.
Brian.
There you go, Brian Zillen, PW Torch. I assume we'll have him back next year as the Dallas Mavericks continue to make moves. I like that Brian just
anniversary.
Yeah, I like that Brian is just every year trade deadline. It's like, all right, Brian's gonna come on. We're just gonna talk hoops with Brian. We're gonna talk trade deadline stuff. And I mean, look, the Dallas Mavericks keep making moves. He's a Mavericks fan. Last year was the biggest trade in NBA history. Maybe the dumbest trade in NBA history.
I gave it second place of the top 10 best in-season trades of all time. That
What was
video is
first?
up on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. It was Pau Gasol to the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, I was very Lakers biased with my top 10 picks.
We're never going to talk about wrestling on this show. Hello, Sean.
No, we're going to talk about the Reds re-signing Eugenio Suarez.
I do like that. I like that they actually spent some money. That was nice. Somebody who can hit as well.
It's the Fightful equivalent of being like, all right, Carlos Toro, come on back.
We got to get that Karrion Kross
Might
article.
be low, but he can slap some dingers for sure.
Yeah. How you doing, Sean?
I'm good. How are you all?
Sean.
We're an hour and a half into the show. We've only talked about NBA trade deadline, no wrestling. So that's how the show has gone so far.
I did a lot of that yesterday with Gabby on the hump. Great show, honestly. But
Gabby's fantastic. She's a very good interviewer.
Yeah, and so we don't worry. We handled all the wrestling talk, but I'm just holding out for my Raptors to make it to the playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs. They're in good position right now.
Probably will. I mean, you'd have to try really hard to not make the playoffs these days with the play-in,
especially in the East.
Play-in, and
No, and it's the Eastern Conference more than anything. you could be like 10 games below 500, be in the play-in position.
Yeah,
and I hate it. I hate it so much. Drives me nuts. But my favorite thing that I saw this week, speaking of trade deadline, it was a video about how great Cooper Flagg is. And the top comment was, "We've seen enough. Trade him, Mavericks."
They're going to trade him for Embiid. It is like, all right, we'll get Joel Embiid. He's the defensive player who, I mean, he's more healthy than Anthony Davis this year. He's younger than Davis too, so
he should have been an all-star.
I can't I got to be honest, that just disheartens me so much. The size of the contracts given out to people that don't play. It's unbelievable to me. It just drives me nuts. Embiid has never played more than 68 games ever.
Yeah, but the thing with those is after 3-4 years, especially with high draft picks, if you've shown just a little bit in those 3-4 years, they're gonna kind of give you a max contract. And Embiid's been playing well this year. I mean, he's always injured, but this year
he has the half of the games this season he's played per usual.
He missed time early, and then he didn't look great coming back, but he's looked really good.
There's still time for him to miss more time, Jeremy. Don't worry.
They
there's
can't
plenty of time.
afford that with Paul George being out for 25 games due to drugs.
Yeah, if that was truly mental health stuff, and he just took an antidepressant that was on the ban list, that's kind of bullshit to me.
Well, how about this? The huge news. Chris Paul was technically a Raptor.
Yeah, what was your favorite memory of the Chris Paul Raptors era? It's technically still going on, right? He hasn't always been bought out.
Cut yet?
No, I don't think he's been cut.
Good. Let's play him. Play him at the end of the season, at the very least. I would love it if just the Raptors became the place where players who are trying to get their last game I want the all Raptors roster, where it's Chris Paul, Hakeem Olajuwon, all those jerseys.
Yeah,
that's what I want. I would love that.
Was Ewing a Raptor? Or am I confusing him with Olajuwon?
Who?
Patrick Ewing.
Played for
Ewing was
Magic and
Magic. Yeah, Magic. I was thinking
Not
Magic.
the Niners, the Sonics too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about the Magic, but I was also kind of confused because there's that photo of them and Olajuwon's in the Raptors and Ewing's in the Magic And for some reason, I thought Ewing was also potentially a Raptor.
You know what's funny? When the story emerged from Chris Paul and like how he would change plays and all that stuff, I had heard about that like a month before. And Jeremy knows how I would hear.
Yes, yeah. I was about to say, yeah.
Jeremy is aware of how I would hear such a thing. And I realize now, like a lot of the times when I'll talk to these sports reporters, I don't realize they're telling me things I'm not supposed to know.
That same person told me about New Japan stuff.
Yes. Like you just never know these days. But damn, yeah, I could have posted some scoops without even realizing it. But
Chris Paul keeps changing the plays. The Clippers they're sick of his shit.
They were. I mean, listen, they've done a lot better without him. So
and now they
have
without James Harden. So I don't know if he was the problem, but it definitely.
I'll tell you the funniest fucking comment I ever saw in my life was when Lonzo Ball got traded this week. Did they, just to be clear, did they get anything back for that? It was just, here, take 2 draft picks and let us be gone.
It was,
but
yeah.
Someone in the comments had the balls, and I know NBA Twitter has a better sense of humor, but this was a serious comment. They said, wow, he was a perfect fit for the Cavs. What a terrible decision. And I'm like, he's never been a perfect fit anywhere, not even in his own shoes. Like, what are we talking about? Like, he shot 30%.
Yeah, he was terrible this year. I thought he was going to be good for them because they lost Ty Jerome. I was like, I can potentially replace Ty Jerome. He's a better defender. He can still run the offense. He shot well when he returned with the Bulls last year, so I had some hopes. But yeah, he was.
I never had hope. Ask Kyler.
Yes, well, yeah, you've been. Yeah, you've been trolling. I don't even think it's trolling. You've been terrorizing Kyler with Lonzo takes for years now.
Jason Tatum was the next pick.
Yes, I will never forgive Rob Pelinka, Magic Johnson for falling into the LeVar Ball hype. And that was all. LeVar Ball is the only reason we drafted Lonzo Ball.
Between 2016 and 2017, again, I'm a very casual NBA viewer, but I'm just watching all this stuff unfold, and I'm like, how are these teams this stupid? I really think there should be like a 30 for 30 on the 2016 free agency. Like the Noah and Ding deals when they were run ragged. But
yeah,
like what was it? It was Mozgov got that big deal. And
yes.
They had obviously
$100 million from Mozgov.
Yes, obviously, D'Angelo Russell wasn't necessarily working out in LA, but like they had to unload him to get rid of Mozgov's contract. They got Kuzma, they got Lopez. Okay, whatever. But I'm looking at that and I'm like, if you just didn't sign Mozgov, who had never shown at that point that he was anything worth a damn, it was such a desperation one. And then the 2017 draft where De'Aaron Fox was like 3 picks after. Donovan Mitchell obviously ain't going to pick him that high. Nobody knew at that point, but he was there. Bam was there as well. There were so many like really, really good picks right down through there. And they went with Lonzo Ball.
Look, Lonzo was great at UCLA, though. Let's not pretend Lonzo
was really good.
Was not fantastic.
Let's not pretend we didn't see a shot motion. Let's not pretend that we thought that was going to translate to the NBA.
Exactly.
That was the
whole big thing about him, that his shot looked ugly. His shot wasn't good. And he had
and the fact that he actually turned into a good shooter.
He had one good season where he shot the ball well for the New Orleans Pelicans. So I'll give him that. He had one really good season for them.
I feel like Lonzo shot the ball well way more than you're giving him credit for.
You know who shot the ball well? Chris Lofton. How many NBA games did he play? Big fat fucking 0, Jeremy. One of the best 3-point shooters in the history of the NBA. If the NBA, like if he were in college right now, I think he'd probably end up getting drafted. But I saw Lonzo Ball and I was like, this guy can't shoot. He can't shoot from the line. He can't shoot from anywhere.
All right, Lonzo, first season, 30% from 3. Obviously not good. Second season, 32% from 3. All right, improvement at the very least. Then he got traded from the Lakers to the Pelicans. 37%, 37%, 42% the next 3 years from 3.
Sure.
Lonzo was shooting really well before the injury happened. And then he came back last year. Then he missed 2 years. Came back last year, shot 34%. And he's down to 27% this year. But he turned into a good shooter before the knee injury. He was 22. Like
he played well for the Pelicans. It actually made me think that, he can have a nice career and I could call him one of the Laker legends. But no.
You know, it's funny. I got curious about Chris Lofton. He's a hometown guy. He was the NCAA 3-point leader at one point. I went to look to where he stands now, 15 or like 18 years later. He's like 17th.
Yeah, I was
all
about to
time
say,
because of how
probably
much 3-point shooting has advanced.
Yeah, he's probably way down there.
And all right, listen, when LeBron uses his college eligibility after he retires from the NBA, who knows?
That would actually be hilarious. I would actually love to see that.
Funny.
45 playing in college against these
Do you
kids.
know how mad that makes me as a Kentucky basketball fan? Because if the Wildcats had Enes Kanter the year that he was supposed to be there, they would have won the championship. And now I'm seeing people who played in the NBA trying to get. Drives me nuts, man.
Do you think Giannis is going to get traded, Sean?
Yeah.
Really? Like today? Or in the offseason?
No, in fucking 4 weeks after the trade deadline. Yeah, probably today.
It could be offseason. I think he might get traded in the offseason. I don't think he's going to be traded today.
What kind of deals he got left on his contract?
This year and next, I believe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give. See, and I know he's of course somebody like him always is a player option, but I think NBA teams are about to like sort of tank the trade value of a lot of players because was it the Harden deal? The Harden deal wasn't like as crazy as it would have been.
Just
even
Darius Garland.
Yeah, that
Darius
was
Garland
they had very similar contracts,
which is a good
decent
trade.
Decent player. I think it works for both teams. Compared to like the Bridges deal that was just insane, and at least with Bridges, he's going to play, but like that many draft picks, and I'm like, my God, guys, like, are we not watching some of these players like just develop out of thin air and become really good? Like that's what I just do not understand why you would unload like 4 or 5 draft picks and just. For a guy that is going to be a malcontent and get traded a year and a half from then anyway. Like, it happens so much in the NBA.
I think it was from Windhorse. It was somebody on ESPN. But they were talking about the Giannis trade, and this was yesterday. And he was just like, if Giannis is going to get traded, it's going to be, if he's going to get traded this season, it's going to be by tomorrow, by the trade deadline. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. If he's going to get traded this season, it's going to be by tomorrow. Like, thank you for that great insight, Brian Windhorse.
Well, I've got to go edit the Wrestle Votes radio show. Check it out on Fightful Select. Let me tell you guys, as good as Dynamite was last night, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I don't know if I love doing post shows anymore. I'm hitting my Jeremy era.
You finally come around on this.
Oh,
this
buddy, I went through
5 years ago.
A month where I did one nighttime WWE Raw review, and then I did it last week, and I was like, oh man, and like the show was great last night. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it last week. I really enjoyed it. I'm just like, man, maybe my services are better rendered elsewhere. I don't know, but
it's so late.
Got those sponsors, baby.
Yeah,
gotta please those sponsors.
Get your penises good and hard, guys. Blue Chew Gold.
Bye, Sean.
See you, Sean. Oh, man.
I guess we got to talk wrestling now.
Yeah, we should at least give them like 30 minutes of wrestling after we nearly did 2 hours.
We're just gonna run through Dynamite like
Hey, we got our most viewers on YouTube, so remember to drop the thumbs up once again. Sound off in the live
they're all
chat.
gonna leave.
Send a super chat donation.
They're all gonna leave thumbs down. They're gonna be like, this fucking wrestling show is talking about no wrestling.
They didn't even talk about the thumbnail until an hour and 48 minutes into the show.
I love when people get mad about that. Like, I definitely understand where they're coming from, but usually we only do an hour. That's why I said, like, hey, tune in at 11 for a wrestling talk, and here we are at 11:52, no wrestling talk. Yeah, the main event was like 12 seconds, so our wrestling talk should be 12 seconds.
No! This was one of the best main events to Dynamite in so long, because I thought this was, I will give credit where credit is due, because usually when we start off Dynamite talk, it's usually me crapping all over the commentary, mostly Tony Schiavone, not Excalibur. Excalibur is actually good, but the commentary did such a great job of them being like, don't worry guys, we know it's like 9:59, but we're gonna stay with this show for the rest. And Dynamite so often ends at like 10:15, 10:10.
Yeah.
Like you still think that you're gonna get a legitimate main event when they're going in and they're doing the intros for the matchup, and then Hangman comes out, and then Brody just yokes him up MJF, throws him into the ring, then hits the cannonball, hits the Gonzo bomb, and the pop was so good on that. The fans felt it literally felt like the fans were legitimately surprised, shocked by that result. But they set it up perfectly over the last month with all the matches that Brody has done. The squash win against John Cruz, the squash wins on Collision, squash wins on Dynamite, and then MJF's like, oh, you've just beat a bunch of jobbers, you need to beat me. And MJF set it up perfectly online. Well, the earlier in the day on Wednesday, when he was like, I'm just gonna beat Brody in 2 minutes, and then Brody had the perfect response after the show, like, 2 minutes, huh? that would have been longer than the match that we actually had.
I love the squash to close the show. I like that, they had the distraction there, so MJF didn't look completely stupid, just like getting squashed. Like once the bell rang, there was a reason for it, and it sets up Brody for the title shot. I don't think Brody's going to win the title, although I'm all for it. And then it's about the follow up off of that, because I don't think you can have Brody squash MJF even with the distraction there, and then lose to MJF in what I assume will be a competitive match, and then do nothing with him after that. Like he's got to continue to be like kind of in that main event scene after all of this, and hopefully he does. And people are mentioning, and I'll certainly bring it up. I'll go ahead. Oh, there's a different super chat, but Ten Ruza, appreciate you. F Ice Vid chant gaining some traction, and Andrade is, and yeah, the crowd before the bell rang did chant "fuck Ice" very loudly. It was tough to tell what it was at first. I was like, what are they chanting? And then I figured out what it was. And Bryce Remsburg went online and said it's almost like the referee delayed ringing the bell so the chant would resonate a little bit more. I like that, like, there was the zoom out shot. The announcers weren't talking over it. MJF kind of reacted. Brody kind of reacted. And yeah. And like they just
MJF had the perfect response to that. MAGA JF. Like.
I did like they just kind of let the moment be, and good on the Vegas crowd, man. But
yeah.
Fuck
good
Ice.
Good crowd last night. Even though it was like I saw the trolls usually talking about so less than 2,000 in the building. Well, there was only 17,000 seats available online. They sold out. So yeah, it was a good crowd. They were loud. I like when AEW does the more intimate settings. It's always a pretty good crowd, and they were good last night. And like I said, the reaction to the F Ice chants, that was great. And then their reaction to the result and the match being over in 1 minute and 17 seconds was perfect. It was a great close to the show and really sets things in motion for AEW Grand Slam Australia, which they went into overdrive as far as they were like, we gotta sell, we got 10 days to sell this ticket. We're giving you the whole entire card on today's show. The whole entire card will be set up for Australia on this show.
A couple more super chats here. Who is SM saying AEW should stick to wrestling? Sports media? Is that what you're going with, Delgado. You don't have to send another super chat for that. Just clarify.
It was like, shut up and dribble, shut up and wrestle.
Yeah. Ryan saying, had politicians ask me about AEW after that clip, showing Brody King killing MJF. And Tenruza saying mainstream media realizing AEW is not the MAGA fed. Yeah, that could work against them considering most of mainstream media is unfortunately swinging on that side of things. So people are like, I can't watch this crap. They're gonna run. They're gonna put something else on Wednesday. They're gonna put Kid Rock on Wednesdays to combat AEW.
Balance things.
Oh, social media. Okay, yes.
Yeah, social media. That makes sense.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you clarifying that. C. Delgado. So yeah. I'm glad they chanted "fuck ICE." I had no issues with it, and hopefully, Brody King is obviously he had the Abolish ICE shirt. He's raised money. He's raised money to help people who've been affected by ICE raids and everything. So obviously he's very outspoken about it, and the crowd got behind that, and good on him. So
yeah, because I honestly was like, maybe the next direction after Grand Slam is maybe him turn on Bandito, and you do that rivalry to kind of keep him apart. You can't make him a heel now. He's got to be a babyface now. He's got to be a babyface. When you get that type of reaction and the traction that it's getting afterwards as well, he's got to be a babyface. And it's so rare that AEW has had a long-term big man who plays the babyface role or plays it as well and has that connection with the crowd that Brody has, whether it's the fuck ICE chants, whether it's the barking when he comes out. So yeah, I think that you kind of have to ride Brody as a babyface for a long while. And honestly, in my opinion, I think he's really good in the role. And last night was probably his shining moment in AEW.
I said this the other week when people were worried that Brody was going to turn on Bandito after Bandito took on MJF, and they had that moment after the match, and people are a little concerned about it because they lingered on that one. But even before, people were like, "Oh, do you think Brody's gonna turn on Bandito here?" And I was like, "I just don't think you can do it. I think he is too much of a babyface, and I don't think I took the wrestling perspective out of it. It's okay, as a wrestling storyline, maybe it makes sense. You get some heat and everything. I was like, Brody's really outspoken about fuck ICE, and it doesn't make sense for him as a person. And his wrestling character largely is who he is as a person. It doesn't make sense for him as a person to then turn on Bandito off of this and then still go around being fuck ICE and everything. He can't just switch his character and be actually, I think you should be deported. That sucks. So yeah, I never thought that I never thought the turn was gonna happen for that reason specifically. On top of it didn't really make sense because they clearly like each other, and they clearly really enjoyed working together, and they were a good team. And so it does seem like that they just wanted to continue to team when they could. So I just never thought the turn made sense. I'm looking forward to Brody King and MJF in Australia. You mentioned it. They went very full bore with announcing matches for Grand Slam Australia. Thank you. Finally, I thought they should have done a couple of these matches announced earlier, so maybe ticket sales would be a little bit better. But Joel and I had that discussion last week. But there's a few big matches, but one of the big matches is going to be Kenny Omega against Andrade. So this was set up.
Hangman Page.
Yeah, Hangman. Sorry. Yeah, Kenny Omega and Andrade was last night. Sorry. Hangman against Andrade. Hangman defeated Mark Davis last night. That was a fantastic match. And then Andrade defeated Kenny Omega, which was an even better match, I thought.
Happy.
Yes.
The Andrade agenda continues. I've been on the Andrade agenda. I'm so happy. This man is an absolute superstar. The aura farming Lothario continues to reign supreme. This week he had 3 girls in the front row taking pictures with him, man. He is so good right now. This feels like Andrade has been fully formed. Like everything that he learned from WWE in his rise on NXT and becoming NXT champion, having those bangers with Gargano, being on the mid card and having great matches on the main roster with Rey Mysterio as US champion, his short run in AEW, like he's already blown away his first run in AEW already, and he's only been back for a month. He just feels so motivated. He is. I said it on True Hill Heat, and I gotta adjust it because the chat corrected me on it. I said he's working like rent is due. Nah, he's working like actual alimony is due, and he is doing his damn thing right now. I'm so happy for Andrade because this company has needed another new main eventers into the mix. And in one night, you had Brody King squash MJF, and you had Andrade a week after he beat Swerve Strickland, a former AEW World Champion. He beats the god of pro wrestling, Kenny Omega, the next week in another banger matchup. That was a great match between those two guys. I will always call you out for the rest of the year. Every time Kenny Omega has a great matchup, I'm calling you out for ever thinking that he was Klay Thompson or ever joking that he was Klay Thompson. This man is Steph Curry. He is KD. He's still doing his damn thing, even in his old age. And Andrade is the real story here. I'm so glad that he won and that the finish really sets up two great matches, because it don't matter who wins between Andrade or Hangman. That's going to be a great matchup against MJF, or if you think that they're going to pull out the even bigger surprise and have Brody win at Grand Slam. But if it's MJF at Revolution against Hangman, we've already seen them. Last year, they had a great match at Revolution. They had another great matchup at Forbidden Door. The kind of the third of their trilogy at Revolution this year should be tremendous. And Andrade seems motivated as hell. He can have a great matchup with MJF as well. But the more intriguing part was Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland. That seems like after that finish and the post match, that seems like a foregone conclusion for Revolution.
I'm going to continue my trolling bit here. Kenny Omega is still Klay Thompson because he's a loser. Because he's losing.
Thank you, Jules.
Who's he beating?
In the mud.
Who's he beating?
In the mud right now. He's in the mud right now because this man is still putting up numbers.
Numbers. Great. 30, numbers on a losing team. Fantastic.
8 rebounds.
Klay Thompson.
Come on.
Klay
man.
Thompson numbers. Losing
he's
out
averaging.
here.
He's averaging.
Losing out
Klay
here.
Thompson, the stat sheet you showed me, he had 17 points. Congratulations.
He's losing. That's all you guys care about. Oh, look at all these great numbers. I care about wins and losses. I don't care about great numbers on a losing ass team. Oh, we beat Rocky Romero and Josh Alexander. Great, more losers. Oh, congratulations. You beat 2 tanking teams. Congratulations. You faced somebody who was actually good. What happened? Oh, he had a great game. Did he win? No, still lost. I think the chat gets like legit mad. I don't think they're actually legit mad at me because I don't think you're legit mad at me because everyone knows
it's like split down the middle of people who's joining you in the troll, like Zeno Hour, the sheep that he is, and everyone that's actually logical and calling you out for being wrong. So I appreciate it.
I do like the people who like maybe stumble upon this show and don't realize like the whole bit, and they'll leave a comment like, "How can you say Kenny Omega's actually washed? Like, did you not watch the match?" I was like, yeah, I watched it. He lost. You dorks. You dorks who only care about numbers. That's what's wrong with you.
Man,
I do
MVP type numbers, man. We need to start doing basketball awards for wrestling and wrestling awards for basketball. I was thinking when Brian was here, I was like, yeah, JJ Redick is a candidate for best on the mic of the 2025-2026 season. Kenny Omega putting up 38 and 10 right now in this new season. Come on.
Does Kenny like basketball? I've seen that man's jump shot. If he does not show it very well. That man looked like he'd never held a basketball in his life before those BTE skits.
I've talked basketball with the Bucks. The Bucks
clearly, yeah, the Bucks are clearly hoops fans. Like, they did trick shots, I'm pretty sure, at one point. Maybe I'm misremembering that. But yeah, Omega and those skits when he's like dribbling around, he looked like he's Canadian. Give him a hockey stick. I'm sure he's fine.
Exactly.
Maybe Maybe that's what's stereotypical of me, but you know, I don't think Kenny Omega has ever played basketball in his life.
Well, what did you think about the match, Andrade?
It was fantastic. I said it was fantastic. Yeah, it was. I have no issues with the match. I'll call out one spot because it's my logic brain here, and I actually want to see them pull it off. The super one-winged angel that turned into like the poison Rana and stuff, but he was like facing the ring post. I was like, is he gonna like leap backwards and hit that? I was like, that'd be really fucking sweet.
He's done that before. He's done that before, where he's leaped backwards on the super one-winged angel. So that's why I was like, it's not illogical him going for it that way, and then Andrade just reversing it into the poison Rana. I was like, man, this guy's so good. He's so good. He does the three amigos and he rolls out the
that
ring
ruled.
Yeah, and then he sees the girls and he's like, wait, I gotta do one more thing. I gotta impress you even more. So I'm gonna do the triangle, the old Jericho triangle moonsault, but I'm gonna do a tornillo in that direction. I'm gonna do the triangle tornillo, and then I'll take a picture with my girls.
I did love the three amigos spot.
I'm sorry. This is my favorite character in wrestling right now, the aura farming Lothario Andrade.
I will complain about something, and I mentioned this last week, and it kind of came to fruition this week. How is Hangman Page in like this finals with wins over loser ass Mark Davis and loser ass Katsuyori Shibata? Why is loser ass Brian Keith? Why is he in those finals?
He had to beat the G League to get to the finals.
Andrade's out here beating Swerve and Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. When was the last victory? When was the last one-on-one victory between on Dynamite? I ain't counting ROH. That federation doesn't actually exist. When was the last one-on-one victory on Dynamite between Brian Keith, Shibata, and Mark Davis? Has this ever happened?
That's a good question. That's a good question, sir. I can't even fathom to tell you. I think the last time that Shibata got a singles victory on Dynamite was probably against Brian Keith. I don't think Brian Keith ever got a singles victory on Dynamite. And
that actually sounds right.
I think the only match to Mark Davis that I can remember him winning on Dynamite was a 4-way that he also won. No, he got pinned. Sorry. So no, not that either. Tag team wins. He gets all right.
Mark Davis, last victory on Dynamite singles, AEW International title, Eliminator first round. He beat Mark Briscoe. March 2025. Yeah, Collision. It's still AEW. I'm still counting that. It's not Dynamite, but it's still AEW. It's not ROH. I'll count Collision. Dynamite, I don't know if those are actually ever happened. All right, so March 2025 is the one to beat here. So we're almost approaching a year for this. Let's see if Shibata has gotten anything earlier than March 2025. His last one-on-one AEW victory. Oh, we got August 2025 for Shibata. Collision. Can you guess who he beat? Do you remember who he beat in August of 2025 on Collision?
August of 2025. So that's after All In. Gabe Kidd? No. No,
Gabe Kidd actually beat him in July.
Yeah, Gabe Kidd beat him in July. No, so go ahead. Tell me.
I'll give you a hint. It lasted 2 minutes. Max Caster. So Max Caster.
Max Caster Open Challenge.
Max Caster Open Challenge. That was his first win since August of 2024 when he beat Jay Lethal. So, folks, when August rolls around, Katsuyori Shibata will get his annual singles victory on Collision. Okay? Just wait till August and he will get a victory. That's the last win for Shibata. Brian Keith, I legitimately don't know if Brian Keith has ever won a singles match on AEW TV. I'm not sure this has actually happened.
You got tag team wins.
Brian Keith's last singles victory. Dude, Matt Cardona came in and beat this man on Rampage. Fuck. His last singles victory in AEW. October 2024 Rampage, a show that literally doesn't exist anymore, against Rocky Romero.
And that was to set up him losing a matchup probably on Collision.
It was a set up to him losing to Matt Cardona the next week is what it was. All right, so August of 2025, over the past year, between those three, they have 2 singles victories on AEW television.
Hey, good match. Good match though, between.
Oh, it was a great
Hangman
match. I love the Hangman and Mark Davis. Yeah, that was a great match. I just
much better than his comments in that interview with John Alba.
I mean, yeah. I respect that he answered the question and he gave his side of things.
I don't know if I should say anything, but
Go ahead.
Maybe I'll say something on True Hill Heat. I don't know.
Wow, that's a tease, folks. All right, that's fair.
No. You know what? I'll say it. John Alba did ask the question, but Hangman requested the interview. I don't think that's a fact that everyone knows.
Oh, I kind of figured that.
Yeah,
honestly.
So that makes it even dumber what he said. To me personally, because if it was just an interview and he just gets asked a question, then I understand, defending him and stuff like that and giving all of this, but it's the fact that I know he requested the interview. So that makes me be like, for the first time in I don't know how long, maybe Punk was right. He is a dumb fuck. Oh shit. Damn it.
Yeah, I kind of figured he requested the interview or it was, if he didn't request the interview, it was like a set up interview and he requested that it be asked about. And so he could address it. That was my other thought on there. I still respect that, like, he wanted to address it because it would have been very easy to.
I respect that part. Yeah.
Yeah, because it would have been very easy to just like ignore it, not do media for a month, and then a month from now, no one would care because there's a million other things that's going to happen, and so he just wouldn't be asked about it. So I respect that he at least did that, but his answer could have just not taken the photo. Like we all know. Just don't take the photo.
So many different steps. Like, don't be friends with him when you find out the real, context.
Right.
What happened? Don't be taking pictures with him. Don't answer any questions about it afterwards. Like, there was so many different levels of him falling down this ladder that he was on, and it's just like, damn, bro. Damn. I can't even really defend you anymore.
Yeah. But all right, so I don't love that Hangman just gets into this spot when Andrade actually had to beat some people when it comes to this stuff. But I am looking forward to the match. I did think they kind of stepped on their own finish by saying after Hangman beat Mark Davis of what the match was going to be, and you're going to face the winner of Kenny Omega and Andrade at Grand Slam. I was like, oh well, Omega's not winning that. I don't think they're doing Hangman and Omega on like a week and a half build here.
I mean, I've seen them blow off big matches before, so I don't think they gave away any. I think more of a giveaway was Hangman saying, "I hope Kenny wins that matchup." That the promo was really good. It was one of his better promos in recent times. But him saying, "I hope that is you, Kenny, that I see at Grand Slam," I was like, "Oh well, it's not going to be Kenny."
Yeah. It didn't take away from the Andrade and Kenny match, mind you. Like, I was still into it from start to finish, but I was also like, I'm pretty sure Andrade's winning this after that promo and after you kind of said that this is the person who's that they're facing Hangman if they win. So that did seem a little obvious. But both those matches, Andrade and Kenny was fantastic. I thought Davis and Hangman was really good, though. Otherwise, on the show, we had Chris Statlander making an announcement that she's going to make an announcement
on Collision.
This sucked. Why? why would you promote like Chris Statlander? One, I don't know why they're doing the rematch. Statlander beat her clean. Like, what's the point
They did explain that it was it was basically the same thing that they did with the Babes of Wrath versus Sisters of Sin. That if Tekla didn't get involved in the eliminator matchup between Babes of Wrath and Mega Bad, she was going to give her the title match. So
It's dumb. That's still dumb.
It's not the best reasoning to give someone another title match at all. But I would have just said I'm giving her the title match because I'm pissed off what she did last week. I want to fight her again, but she won't fight me unless the title is on the line. I think that's a much better reasoning.
I would have been fine with that, or like Statlander just is backstage. Don't even say like Chris Statlander announces the stipulation for the match, because now you've set the expectation that that's what it's going to be. And you immediately killed that expectation by being like, I'm going to make you wait until Saturday. Like, what do you mean? I would have just had like Statlander do a backstage promo. Here, spoiler alert, everybody. I apologize. I'm going to spoil this for Collision. It's going to be a strap match because Thekla beats Statlander with a strap on Collision. So I would have just done a backstage promo with Statlander. Do the we'll hear from Chris Statlander. Do the promo. She gets attacked. Thekla whips her with the strap. And then on Collision, be like, hey, on Dynamite, you beat me with this strap. Like, things clearly aren't settled between us. Strap match at Grand Slam. Just do that. That seems way more simple than she's going to announce the stipulation. I'm not going to. Like, that was a heel-ass move, honestly, of like, no, I'm not going to announce the stipulation.
She was dressed like a heel. Like she looked great. Don't get me wrong, but she looked like more of a heel if you just look from the outside looking in. Yeah. I mean, this was not the women's division is just so paint by the numbers. It's so in like cruise control when you need to kind of create more stories. You have definitely dropped the ball on the Statlander reign. Like Tekla needs to win next week. That's my
it kind of feels
next week.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it feels like Tekla's winning next week. It feels like they're doing this rematch because Tekla's gonna win next week. Like I think they like. I could be wrong about this, but they heard the crowd reaction for last week's match, and they're like, well, we couldn't call an audible during the match last week, so we'll just go with our original plan, and then we'll just do a rematch, and Thekla's gonna win. That's what it felt like to me.
Same. That's what it felt like to me as well. That they were like, oh, they heard the reaction last week. That's why they're running this back so they can put the title on Tekla. And hopefully they put the title on Tekla and give her some story. Actually have some story involved, some meat to the bone with these rivalries, because that's what let everyone down with the Statlander reign. The Statlander reign came off very much like post-Bryan feud Hangman's reign, where Hangman didn't get that much his first reign, and maybe even his second reign as well, because he didn't get much on that one either. But like you have these people that are great in the ring, but you're not focusing on their strengths. You're basically highlighting their weaknesses as characters, as promos, and instead of focusing on their strength, where the strength of Statlander's reign, which you could say was the positive part about it, was all the matches were good to great in the Statlander reign, but she never got any real stories that was anything other than, oh, we want to be champion. Oh, I need to stay champion. Okay, let's have a match. That was her and Storm. That was her and Mercedes. Oh, you've beaten me twice. I'm going to beat you now because I'm a champion. I need to prove myself by beating the top star who's already a champion. That was the story there. And then Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander. Oh, we're both baby faces, but we both want to be the champion. But we're only going to get one promo against each other in the ring. Okay.
It hasn't been good. And I do think Mega Bad is winning the tag team titles. I know they won last night to set up in the Eliminator match. It feels like they're just going to win the tag team titles as well. Because Willow's been the TBS champion, and she ain't done anything with that because she's been the tag team champion, so they've been more focused on that. And then you have the Tony Storm and Orange Cassidy stuff, which I like Tony Storm and Orange Cassidy. I still don't need this Death Rider and stuff, being baby faces, heels, and I don't need Willa Yuta and Orange Cassidy. I just don't need it. I really don't.
It's so confusing. It was so haphazardly put together on last week's show, and they did a better angle on Collision, no doubt, to set up the hair versus hair matchup. But we had felt like we had gone past that whole thing. Like we hit a peak with the what was the name of the mixed nuts matchup?
Yeah, Mixed Nuts
at
Mayhem.
World's End.
Yeah,
That over delivered big time at World's End, and because it went viral with the whole dancing spot with Orange and Tony, that's why they've dragged this out, and now they're getting another matchup. You had to book Tony in Australia, and she's been feuding with Marina Shafir all this time, so I understand going in that direction, but you had gone like at least a week without even addressing that, and then you just brought it back last week, and now it's going into Grand Slam Australia, so it's not in the strongest position. They're playing it off well. I like the squash win last night, which was very much focused on their fear and their worry of becoming bald, and then Tony having that confidence and saying that they're gonna make Marina look like Mox. It was a good promo by Tony in the post match, but yeah, it's not anything worth a damn. It's kind of like a heatless feud at this point.
we had Don Callis family defeating Death Riders, with Takeshita defeating or pinning Daniel Garcia, and then Mox looked like a disappointed father after Daniel Garcia lost. I'm like, wait, what did you expect when you recruited Daniel Garcia? All he did was lose. Come on now. And then later it was announced that Takeshita will face Jon Moxley at Grand Slam Australia, which very much looking forward to that rematch.
Yeah, that should be tremendous. I'm little disappointed that it's at Grand Slam Australia, because I think it's less likely that there's going to be a title change there than it would if they would have built this out a little bit more until Revolution. But it definitely makes the Grand Slam Australia card even more stacked, because Brody and MJF should deliver after the squash win. Hangman and Andrade is probably going to be the match of the night, maybe an early AEW match of the year candidate if given time. And then this matchup is another one that has the potential to be another kind of early AEW match of the year candidate, because Takeshita is probably the best wrestler in the ring, pound for pound, in AEW. Moxley's been on kind of a heater since the Continental Classic, so I think that should be great as well. So I'm looking forward to it. But I thought the match last night was good. It was a good trios matchup to start things off. Not the prototypical kind of party multi-man matchup that they usually have. This was more kind of having a story, having a point to it. And that's what I enjoyed most about last night's show, and why I thought it was a very good episode once again, is everything feels much more focused. That even if I'm not interested in the story, like we said before about the Tony and Orange versus Wheeler and Marina, at least that is, you're trying to get something over. You're trying to get a feud over, get an angle over. Everything feels like it has a point to it. It's less filler time than, say, this week's Monday Night Raw until Roman came out of his Range Rover. There was a lot of pointless filler stuff on that show. There's a lot of pointless filler stuff on, I like TNA's episode last week, but there was a lot of pointless filler stuff on there. I like episodes that you are heading towards something, you're building towards something, you're going towards the pay-per-view, you're going towards a special event, you have a story, an angle, a character that you're trying to put over. And I thought last night's Dynamite was really good in the fact that every segment, every match, every promo was about putting over a story, an angle, a character throughout the whole night, and it was building towards Grand Slam Australia very well.
I agree with that.
And the vignettes was probably the best part of the whole show for me.
Yeah, the Will Ospreay vignette, even though they didn't have a date for him to return, and the Kevin Knight vignette were really, really good. I thought that it was a good job highlighting those two, especially Kevin Knight since he's active, highlighting those two without, doing it via a match. And I know Kevin Knight's going to wrestle Scorpio Sky on Collision. It'd be nicer if they gave him a little bit bigger of a win, but hey, at least it's a victory on Collision, and it'll be a showcase for him.
Former two-time TNT champion. You know that's what they're gonna say. He just beat a former two-time TNT champion. He's beaten Okada. He's beaten Darby Allin. He's beaten all these former champions in AEW. So this is about building up Kevin Knight, hopefully for a big matchup down the line. So I'm happy about that. And I don't know about everybody else. I know I've seen some people complain about it. I love the War Dogs kidnapping Darby Allin and leaving him in the desert. That was so 90s coded.
Has anyone checked on Darby? Like,
the commentators basically kind of no-sold it. Like, we'll have an update soon. All right, let's go to the next.
I did think like they kind of like undersold how like these two dudes just like kidnapped and effectively murdered this guy because they dragged him and then they left him mouth taped in a body bag. Like, he's gonna die.
Out there. He's
gonna die. He can't breathe.
We need them on like Collision to announce that the War Dogs are like suspended or banned from AEW for a while. Like, this should be more of like just them being just being outlaws that are just taking their personal vendetta against Darby way too far.
I hope I assume he's like Houdini and like he just like escapes. They need a vignette, and maybe it's Tony Khan because Tony loves Darby so much. Tony's out in the desert like looking for Darby, and he finally gets the geographical locations.
Now you know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be it's gonna be a similar vignette that we've seen before of Sting in his car. Pull it up, and Darby's gonna be in the desert in the body bag. He's just gonna sit up. He's gonna be like, Dad. He's gonna break out.
I wanted to be Tony Khan, and he finds the body bag and he unzips it, and there's no one in there, and do that whole gimmick to where it's like, where is Darby out here? Because if it's Sting, then you're creating the expectation that like he might return and stuff, and I don't think they like really want to do that. So yeah, I think that Tony like just finding an empty body bag would be very funny. And then Darby just comes back.
We need
Darby
the War Dogs to get involved in the parking lot brawl and break that up. It could be Eddie Ortiz and Darby versus the War Dogs when Drilla is healthy and he can come over.
Darby's gonna come down from the rafters on Dynamite, and while the War Dogs are in the ring, Gabe Kid's yelling about something. And then Ricochet against Jack Perry. We did not get to jack off last night, everybody. I was so sad. We couldn't jack it last night, you know? Ricochet won. Good for him. And then he trolled a bunch of people online.
Ricochet is awesome. I'm sick of this part of wrestling fandom that have parasocial relationships with wrestlers and try to dictate how they talk about of their favorite 3 letters that they think define pro wrestling, that defines their whole identity on social media. Ricochet, speak your mind, man. Speak your mind, sir. Do what you want to do, because all these people are fucking losers. They're fucking losers, and they deserve at least one wrestler to call them out for being fucking losers. And I love the people that are like, well, no, it's not wrong what he said about it. It's him bringing other people's names in it. He is someone that is a part of the wrestling business. So if he thinks that WWE has tarnished the legacies of a Finn Balor, of a Apollo Crews, of a Shinsuke Nakamura, which I'll give you my opinion, I think yes. We literally talked about on Tuesday WWE doing a whole fucking video package with Finn Balor saying, I learned how to be a superstar in NXT. I didn't do jack shit before NXT, basically. You created the Bullet Club. What the fuck are we talking about? Shinsuke Nakamura is one of the greatest Japanese pro wrestlers of all time. If you watch WWE in the last 5 years, you would have no idea about any of that. And Apollo Crews? He's more remembered for being Nigerian back in 2021 than everything he did as Yuha Nation.
I think it's very stupid that people are like, well, how can you say that about your WWE career because you won this title and you did this, this, and this? Like, I think it's very stupid. People did this with Bryan as well when he said like All In was like the best moment, and people were like, well, you main evented WrestleMania. What do you mean All In was like? Do not tell people how to feel about their own careers. Like, it's their career. They were there. They lived it. If he says that WWE, in his mind, wasted his legacy or tarnished his legacy, like, that's how he feels about his career. It's very stupid to argue with the literal guy whose career you're arguing about. Now, if he feels that WWE has tarnished the legacy of Balor and Sammy and Shinsuke and all these guys, that's his opinion, just like it's anybody else's opinion. I think when it comes to Sammy, I think that's the best argument. It's like, I think WWE kind of enhanced his a little bit. But yeah, the guys like Shinsuke, guys like Finn.
I'll be honest. I think that response of, I think El Generico legacy is better than Sammy, that's definitely him trolling. That's not him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he definitely, like, he 100% trolls when it comes to this stuff as well, which I respect that. So, like, when it comes to that, again, he's just giving his opinion on what he thinks about their legacy before WWE to now WWE. Maybe he's talked to them. I don't know. I have no idea if he's talked to them. I don't look at it as like, oh, Ricochet knows. They've said all of this stuff. Because, I mean, when you look at Nakamura, Balor, Sammy, they've all re-signed. So over the past 10 years, like, they've all been happy enough to where, okay, I'm gonna resign, and some of them have resigned since AEW has formed. So it's not even like, well, they had no other options. Like, no, they probably did have an option. They just decided they were good in WWE and they were happy there, and they thought what WWE brought them was very good when it comes to that. I do think, and again, this is just opinion on what he thinks about their legacy. It's not fully an apples to apples comparison, especially with somebody like Sammy, because Sammy was just like doing indies and ROH stuff. At least Finn, like, again, Bullet Club, like, did big things in New Japan. Shinsuke did huge things in New Japan. Sammy, you're basically looking at, like, yeah, he did really great stuff in the indies, and El Generico did great stuff in the indies, but, like, you're looking at it from a perspective of kind of great match quality and really good stories as well, compared to what WWE obviously did for him, which is bigger platform, more eyeballs, and still some really good stories and really good matches as well. So that's the only one where I'm like, I don't know about that. But, like, he's looking at legacy from, at least to me, this is my perspective on it. He's looking at legacy of sort of from a fan perspective, and not necessarily from maybe a full-on bigger picture perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's totally his opinion. Like, I'm not even saying I like agree with everything he's saying, but I just agree with him speaking his mind and speaking out. And I had people in my comments like, oh, well, what about the people that go to AEW and don't talk bad about WWE? He could be like that. But he's not. So I think that's totally fine. I think either way is fine. That's their, I mean, that's how they feel about it. That's how they want to address it. So let them.
This is who Ricochet is. Like, people kind of forget, because he was in WWE for 5 years. He was a giant troll online before that. And then I think WWE was like, yeah, you can't be doing that shit. And so they effectively, like, silenced him on that. And, like, the moment he got free from that, he's like, all right, I'm going to talk my shit now. So I don't mind it. I will say, when it comes to parasocial relationships with this, it's a big problem in all of entertainment. Like, I don't disagree with that. I don't think Ricochet or anybody in this, and I'll use Kevin Durant as an example, I don't think any of these guys help it by constantly being online and replying to people. Like, and that's their right. Like, they're human as well. They want to get online. They want to start replying to people. Like, I completely understand that. I'm not trying to say they shouldn't, but it does make people feel more comfortable. And then you get to be like, well, we think we know these people, when, like, really you don't know these people at all. But the more you reply, the more you engage. It's like, well, I definitely know him. He replies to me, or he says this, and this. And it's like, oh, no, that's not true. So it's tough, but it's tough to balance, right? Because you don't want to just... It's nice when you interact with actual fans and not just people like you're trying to troll or things like that. Like, it is nice when you do that stuff, but then you kind of open yourself up to more of like, oh, well, I know you now, when obviously that's not the case.
So
Jack Perry
that's
should
all
have
I
won,
got.
is what I'm getting at here.
It was a solid matchup between the two
Yeah.
guys. I like the Bucks coming out, setting up Bucks versus GOA, and then there's a 3-way number one contenders matchup next week with the Rascals, the winner of the Bucks and GOA, and then a wild card team, which is interesting. I don't know who do you think is going to be the wild card team?
I'm honestly not sure. What TNA team just got released?
That's what TNA or WWE team?
Macklin
just
and
got
Mark.
released?
Macklin and Mark Davis, new tag team, is what we're gonna
Good
get.
brothers. This is the Tony Khan of bringing in AJ Styles. He's gonna get the Good Brothers first.
If it's the Good Brothers, that'd actually be very funny. Like, of course, these guys just
I
found their
peep
way
your
back
game.
here.
I peep your
Yeah.
game.
Of course, they just found their way back here. Just get that money. I respect it. All right. Anything else from Dynamite?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay. All right, we did have super chats. Cineruza, I did not forget about any of this stuff. Some of it just didn't really fit into the full-on Dynamite review. He says, "Fuck Ice Chance in AEW, Punk doing Saudi shows." I do love that Punk was like, "I said this in a promo. Like, why are you saying like I'm just working you guys?" That's the thing about wrestling too, which is why I thought about this the other day. It is why it's like the dumbest sport in the world. I absolutely love it, obviously, but it's the dumbest sport because you can just claim that like everything is a work. Like, oh man, I was just trolling you, just working you, brother. Gotcha with that one. That and like you can explain everything and make it make sense. Like I know you've seen this with a lot of people. Like we watch something and we're like, this is dumb. This makes no sense. And somebody will chime in somewhere, usually on Reddit or somewhere else, but they're like, well, actually, because this happened 10 years ago, now this makes sense today. And if you pay attention to this thing that happened in the background 5 years ago, this makes sense today as well. And then they use the whole thing of like, and what if this, and that, like they'll do like the hypotheticals of why something that happens today makes sense. And because it's pro wrestling and like it can change on a whim, and because there is so much history and so many Easter eggs and so many ties to things, it's like, yeah, you can explain it, but I don't think that's what they're actually going for there. Even though in your mind this all makes sense, sure, I don't think that's what they were shooting for when it came to all of this. But that's what I love about this dumb sport is like you can actually make sense of everything if you try hard enough. And if you are not happy with something, well, it's just a work. I was just kidding. I was just working you. That's what Hangman should have said. That photo's a work, brother.
Yeah, that was a work. That was a work. Didn't it look like that picture happened this year? That was in 2018.
Tenruza also saying AJ Styles showing up at Revolution will be ace. I don't think it's happening. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, after the Stephanie podcast with him saying never say never, but he is done for now. He just put the gloves back on because he always believes that you should come out of you can come out.
It's like everybody comes out of retirement once, right?
Once, right?
That did rule. That
kind of was different from all the other things that he said. So
yeah. Well, in fairness, he did say like never say never, and you know everybody comes out at least once, and then he kind of clarified like, what if like I want to team with my son? And I'm like, all right, you know what? He wants to come out of retirement one time to team with his son, and then he did say like at some point
who is training right now.
Yeah, yeah. He did say like at some point the gloves will never go back on. He's like, it might be this time, but you know, for right now, just never say never. So he tried to leave it a little open-ended. I think if he goes to AEW, which I don't think he's going to AEW, mind you, I think that people are kind of talking themselves into it because it's cool to talk yourself into it. I don't think it's going to be like this super long run type of thing. Like the way he was talking, it was like, yeah, I might do it at some point just to if it makes sense for me. I don't think it was, I'll be at AEW Revolution. I'm about to win this title at Wembley, and then next year I'm going to headline all the events. Like, I don't think it was, I'm going to work with Joe. I'm going to get Danielson to come out of retirement. I'm going to get Daniels to come out of retirement. We're running that whole shit back. I'm going to work with Kenny. I'm going to work at the Bucks again. Like, I don't think it's anything like that. Tenru's also saying, also, New Japan about to be gutted, some dual contracts. I would imagine, we talked a little bit about this on Tuesday with Clark Connors, probably being in AEW and potentially still working New Japan stuff and everything like that. And Henry saying, this is why I love the show. That was in reference to us spending an hour and 50 minutes on basketball as a wrestler.
We definitely did. And this is the thing. A lot of these people that have created the narrative of New Japan getting gutted are 9 times out of 10, the most people that I've seen say that are people that don't watch New Japan. Like, the people that do actively watch New Japan, I haven't seen them very much fazed by anyone that's leaving, because these are people that have done everything that they can in New Japan, and New Japan has been clearly focused on the next generation. If one of those guys leave, then we should be worried that New Japan is getting gutted, that everybody's leaving New Japan. The people that make the big headlines and want to go on these rants of, oh my God, they got this people, they got Evil leaving. Oh my God, no more House of Torture, rallying things down. Oh, Hiromu's leaving. He can't win the junior title for a 6th time. Oh my goodness. No one is saying that. If you actually watch New Japan, you know that they are focusing on the new generation. If someone like a Yuya Uemura, a Shota Umino, a Yota Tsuji, a Kosei Fujita, a Roye Uyawa, if one of those guys, Zack Sabre Jr., he leaves, then I say, yeah, that's something to be worried about. Me, myself, that watch New Japan and is up all these mornings watching New Japan, I know none of these people is really affecting the New Japan of today that much. Even David Finlay, Clark Connors, and Gabe Kidd potentially getting dual contracts if they want to, or going to WWE, that is not going to affect New Japan all that much, because the focus right now for those guys has been putting over United Empire, which the real focus is at with Callum Newman and Jake Lee, making him a guy in New Japan, and everybody else, Francisco Akira as well.
Yeah, we talked about that on Tuesday, of the people that they're leaving, or people that are leaving are like, well, they've kind of done everything in the company. Like, what more do you want Hiromu to do? What more do you want Evil to do? Like, they need to get the new people kind of on the up here, and they are, and that's what they should be doing. All right, SB3, what was your moment of Wednesday?
My moment of Wednesday was Brody King getting those F-Ice chants. Those F-Ice chants, that was awesome. That's the most viral moment from AEW Dynamite last night, and respect to the Las Vegas crowd, because I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that was mine as well, was the fuck Ice chants. So I'll go in a little bit of a different direction, and I'll say my moment of Wednesday was just Brody King squashing MJF. I like that they actually went with that instead of doing some type of competitive match or MJF. I didn't think MJF was going to win, because I did think they were setting up the Grand Slam match. I will say, I'll give them credit for this, is they'd announced 4 matches for Grand Slam before Brody and MJF, right? Because they announced the
3. Well, because the hair versus hair was announced on Collision. So
hair versus hair.
Yeah.
The women's tag team match, the international title match, and Andrade and
Continental title.
Continental, sorry, all these fucking titles. Continental title match, and Andrade and Hangman. So 4. They had 4 total before Brody and MJF. So they did a good job of like, well, we already got 4 big matches for this show. Like, they kind of signaled to me, at least, and maybe other people had a different read, but to me, I was like, maybe MJF will just beat Brody, because they don't really need MJF and Brody on this thing. Well, so I did like
when
that.
When I did AE Ramble with Jimmy last week, he predicted, he was like, I think MJF's going to win, because they're already going to do Omega versus Hangman or Andrade versus Hangman at Grand Slam Australia. So why do you need a world title match? So I can't wait to hear what he's going to say.
Yeah, so I did like that they already had 4 really good matches set, and so to me it was like, oh, MJF might just win because why do you need Brody? And then I liked on top of that oh shit, Brody's just squashed him. This rules, and now we're gonna get MJF and Brody, and I assume a proper match at Grand. Hangman should just come out at the end of that shit because I assume he's gonna beat Andrade. He's just come out there again to it. All right, SPT, you got matches of the week?
Yes, let me pull this up here so I can give you the matches of the week for this week since last Thursday. So my matches of the week, honorable mention, I'll give to Goto versus Uyawa from Road to New Beginning this past, Monday. That was a great matchup in the main event. But coming in at number 5 this week is the Zack Sabre Jr. versus Yoshihashi match from that same Road to New Beginning show. It was like a mini G1 series between Hontai and TMDK on this show. And this matchup was probably the best technical matchup in the ring of the night. Like Yoshihashi trying to get one big win over Zack Sabre Jr. He's had a losing streak against Zack, but Zack pulling out the same submission he beat Goto with last year to win back the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Great match. Go out of your way to watch it. I gave that 4.25 stars. Number 4, though, is the best match from that show. Bolton Oleg versus Hartley Jackson. Go out of your way to see this. This was like bulls in a china shop just colliding against one another on the floor, in the ring, in the crowd. Hartley Jackson took one of the sickest bumps you will see where he gets shoulder blocked. He gets basically pounced into the seats and his back, the lower back just goes right into one of those hard seats in Kurgan Hall. Crazy matchup. 4.25 stars for that. Number 3, Ciampa versus Briscoe from Collision last Saturday. I give that 4.5 stars. Excellent matchup. Ciampa winning the championship was such a great move by AEW. Andrade versus Omega is number 2. I gave that 4.5 stars. Fantastic matchup last night on Dynamite. But number 1 for me is Gunther versus AJ Styles from the Royal Rumble. I gave that 4.5 stars. Great retirement match, if it is that, for AJ. Superb work by both guys, 2 of the best wrestlers in WWE today or yesterday, since AJ is officially retired now.
Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel Rodriguez snubbed. Women's Royal Rumble first half snubbed. And
no, you
just
mean the second half.
No, the second half was fine. The first half sucked. All right. We do have a few trades here that came in during our Dynamite review and some news. We mentioned the Gabe Vincent trade. The Bucks have traded Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey for Nick Richards and Nigel Davis to the Suns. Okay, sure.
Okay.
The Celtics are trading Chris Boucher to Utah. And the Pelicans are trading Jose Alvarado to the Knicks. Oh, I like that for the Knicks. That's a good move by them. And Shams is saying, as I've been saying for weeks, the Bucks have indicated to teams they are keeping Giannis through the deadline, and they will now start making other trades. I told you all this weeks ago when this stuff was popping up, that he was not going to be traded at the trade deadline. Now just wait.
NBA insider.
Now just wait for that Ja Morant to the Bucks trade, because that's happening next. That's happening. I promise you. I don't know if it's actually happening, but that's been my prediction for weeks as well. So we shall see if I'm correct again. Love that Shams was reporting, oh, he's going to be gone. He's this offer. And now it's like, oh, no, he's not actually going. It's like, yeah, because these offers sucked. All these offers always sucked. Dumbass reporters. Can't stand any of them. We didn't have a poll question today. That's my fault, everybody. I was going to put, the poll question was going to be, do you think Giannis gets traded today? And then I just forgot at the top of the show. I didn't have a banner either. I was slacking today. That's my bad, everybody.
You're fine.
SP3, what did we accomplish today?
We accomplished the best basketball NBA trade deadline podcast of all time on this channel. We covered the NBA in depth, all the big trades, and we gave you the latest updates. So that is why I am the NBA analyst, and Jeremy is the greatest NBA insider of all time.
The biggest thing we accomplished today is Giannis was not traded, as I told you weeks ago. Could have saved every when it comes to Giannis rumors. I'm glad he didn't go. I'm glad he didn't go to Minnesota. I was worried about that one. That was a concern, but didn't happen because the offer sucked. Who wants Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels? I do think Jaden McDaniels is good, but who the fuck wants Julius Randle? Get out of here. Let them know where they can find you at SP3.
Find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. I will be live in about 15 minutes with Jimmy Macaram for AE Ramble. If you want a more in-depth talk, we will probably talk some trade talk because we got the AD news as we were recording the latest GOAT match series yesterday. So we'll talk about that. We'll get Jimmy's thoughts on the Royal Rumble as well, but we'll break down AEW Dynamite as only we can on AE Ramble. So join me on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel with Jimmy Macaram in about 15 minutes.
Enjoy that. Tell Jimmy he was wrong. I don't know what he's wrong about, but he was wrong. And we'll talk. We'll see if we can do a little post-deadline talk to run at some point. Folks, appreciate everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. To myself and Joel, he's going to make me talk about TNA, I assume. Myself and Steven Jensen will be back tonight at 6:30. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats, for just the general chats, for hanging out with us for nearly 3 hours. I apologize that I was remixing, apparently, here earlier.
I did this. You didn't see me. I did this.
Oh, sorry. No, that might have clipped for me, and that's why I didn't see it. My bad. But yeah, I don't know what happens when it comes to that. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Come on. You know I'm not going to let you down on this. He's been the topic all day. He's staying. Because he's always here on In the Weeds.
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. The MVP of the NBA. Yeah, I'm not making this up. For AEW Rampage, ladies and gentlemen, the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
People acting like I wasn't going to play the clip. Come on now. Catch you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone.